Hello and welcome to our transfer deadline special show. We're here for the next 3 hours, right up until 11 o'clock, chatting about all things transfer window. The guests will be changing throughout. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me, but I might disappear off for a little while. But I'll have 2 guests with me. They'll be interchanging. We'll be talking about anything, and we'll be chatting to you guys in the live chat. So get chatting there, Charlie. Crap deadline day for a West Ham fan, isn't it?
Being super boring. I didn't honestly. I think once the story started coming out last night about Hogan sort of going off and Bilic not really being up for it and all that sort of stuff, I expected nothing. There were 1 or 2 glimpses that we might do something with Daniel Sturridge for like 5 seconds and all that sort of stuff, but exactly how we all expected it to be. In that, literally nothing happened.
Are you disappointed that it kind of like nothing happened? We knew nothing was going to happen, but are you not disappointed that we haven't got a striker or a right back? Or?
To a point, yeah. I think it's amazing that yet again we've come into a window and we needed a striker and a right back, and we've done everything but that. It concerns me deeply that we've been linked with 1 right back the entire time, which is that Mal Cut guy who I don't know, which is amazing. But I think I honestly thought we would do less than this in January. I'm surprised we went out and signed a player as good as Fonte and a backup player as good as Snodgrass. I legitimately thought we would get maybe 1 loan signing in from somewhere that no one had really heard of before, and that was it. So in that sense, I'm happy. But I mean, the holes that we had in the first team in the squad are still existing now.
The thing is, so as good as those players are, and just so you know, Middlesbrough have just equalised. We'll keep you up to date with the scores. As Middlesbrough just equalised against West Brom, it was 1-1 there. Negredo scored. There's a striker that scored in the Premier League. What I will say about the window is, although Snodgrass and Fonte are 2 good signings, we only got them in to replace players that were going out of the window. I know Ogbonna didn't leave, but he's still out for the rest of the season, so we had to get Fonte in, and obviously Pyatt went out, so we got Snodgrass in. So we haven't actually really, between now and the end of the season, we haven't really improved the squad at all. And I was disappointed that we're not going for a striker. I'm surprised we're not going for a striker, actually. I was convinced even yesterday, even when this Hogan thing was going about, I thought, nah, this can't be right. This can't be right. And then I thought, well, surely there's something else up their sleeve. This whole Hogan thing must have been some sort of decoy, so who are they going to bring in? But are you not worried? Are you not worried? Because I'm really worried that we're going in now with Andy Carroll, and then we've got Fletcher and Caleri, who are unproven in the Premier League. We're taking punts on them, essentially. But the Andy Carroll thing, he's in fine form, but every time he goes for 50-50 now, I'm going to be looking through my fingers.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that. I think, to be fair, we've also, got Andy Carroll, Sacco, Caleri and Fletcher, as you say. Antonio plays up front, Ayew plays up front. So we've got enough bodies, but the problem is those bodies aren't the right ones. Carroll, and like you say, every time he goes into a 50-50, everyone winces. Sacco, I think, is getting to that stage now. Despite the fact his injury record is actually worse, I think he's getting to the stage where he's publicly fragile enough there where no one's quite sure. Also, clearly attitude problems. Fletcher's not proven, and then the other 2 aren't technically strikers. So we have enough bodies, but they aren't the right ones. And I think I'm not too worried, because last season, scoring a lot, the rest of the team were. But we need to get to a stage now where the rest of the team are up to scratch and playing like they were last season. If that happens, then I'm not worried at all. As the first half of the season shows, we can't rely on that. That is a big problem.
But what do you think? We talk about Fletcher there. I know he's going to get more minutes now because there's not less competition in his way. There's the same competition as there was a month ago for him. But I think we're almost, he was. Do you think he was maybe geared up for a loan to Leeds United? Do you think in his head he was maybe ready for it, or do you not think it has a knock-on effect to Fletcher now? Because you're almost, I don't want to say stopping his development, because he should now get minutes in the Premier League, but it has an effect on other players' transfers, and it's not as bad. But remember when Carlin Cole thought he was away to West Brom, and then in the 12th hour we said, no, you're not, mate, we ain't got a striker, you're going to have to stay here, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but it could be positive. It could be, because, as the story has been said, it's where we signed Hogan, and he ended up saying no. So in a way, he's kind of semi-picked Fletcher over Hogan. Now, I don't believe that's what's gone down at all. But he can turn around and say to him, look, we could have gone and got this guy, but we're giving you the chance, we're giving you the opportunity to shine. Go out there and take that opportunity, and you'll stay in the team. You will be involved in first team action, and you won't have to drop down to the Championship. You will be playing Premier League football. That's the hope. Whether that happens or not, of course, is a completely different thing. And as we've just mentioned, there are already 4, possibly 5 players ahead of Fletcher in the pecking order anyway.
I think that's a good point, actually, choosing between Fletcher and Hogan. And it's not just choosing between the players, you're also choosing between Hogan or Fletcher plus an extra 10 million for the summer, providing he gets that 10 million extra, and not 10 million as in, in the summer you're going to get 40 million. You're saving that 10 million. Okay, well, you're still getting 40 million in the summer. Hopefully he gets that X plus the money he's not spent on Hogan. And I suppose when you look at it like that, there's a sort of a clever spin you can put on it, I suppose. And also, Bilic will know what he's getting from Fletcher through training and under 23s and that. He knows what he's getting. But with Hogan, he's obviously got doubts, but he's had doubts from day one. And for me, I'm just frustrated. And the guests throughout the show, by the way, will be having their say in the transfer window, and I'm sure they're going to echo one way to say here, but I'm just frustrated that we've spent all window fanning around, negotiating a deal for Scott Hogan, unsettling Scott Hogan. Brentford, it's almost like bullying tactics to Brentford in a way a little bit. We've unsettled their striker. He's missed the last, I know he came off bench against Chelsea, but he missed the last 2 games before that, pulling out with a bum injury the night before the game. He decided he wasn't playing and stuff. That's affecting Brentford. And it's down to us, not tapping him up, but unsettling him and saying, well, you don't have a skid injury, because if you do, we'll do all that. And then the day before the window, we finally sort of listened to Bilic, and Bilic just keeps repeating, I don't want Hogan. And then the day before the window, they go, oh, okay, manager doesn't want Hogan. Well, why have we spent all window going after him?
It's bizarre. And we know when Bilic came in, there was a conversation about how much control a manager would have over the transfers. And that was a big thing that Sullivan had a problem with Sam Allardyce, in that he had too much control of transfers. They weren't working out with any resale value, and so he wanted more control. We know that was a thing. Not want a player in any way, shape or form. Why are you continuously chasing him? And the whole club has been excruciatingly clear that we want a striker to come in. We've wanted one. I mean, let's be honest, we've all seen the stats about how many strikers we bring in. It's all they ever seem to sign. But we clearly want and need a striker. That's clearly what everyone has always said. Bilic has said it. The board have said it. Everyone says it. It's almost like they picked this one striker, zeroed in on him, and just continuously went. And then finally, when it came down to it, and they said, right, there you go, there's your striker. And Bilic went, no, I told you I didn't want him. What are you doing? And they've just gone, oh, well, what can we do now? It's such a ridiculous situation to be in. Because if he does not want him, why pursue him for that long? It makes zero sense. But then again, not much about our transfer policy makes sense. So, if anything, it's typical in that sense. But it's just unbelievable in a way. I think pick up who you want and then go and try and get them. Don't just go off and do your own thing for.
Yeah, I don't get, like, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's good to see the board backing Bilic over the Hogan thing, which I do agree with. I do agree with. The manager doesn't want him, you don't go. What I'm trying to say to those, they're not really backing the manager here, because if they were backing the manager, they'd go get the striker he wants. So it's not necessarily backing the manager. You're just using the manager as a sort of an excuse almost as to why you're not signing Hogan. Fine, but what you're not doing is backing the manager. Backing the manager and using the manager as an excuse not to sign the player that your scout wants is 2 completely different things. And if Tony Henry is this super amazing talent spotter, which we've got no reason to doubt him, he's pulled out some fantastic signings for West Ham, etc., then surely David Sullivan, to an extent, has to say to Slav, look, Slav, my expert has picked out this striker, him. Bilic is like not listening to his expert now. Bilic is almost going, Sullivan, he, at the end of the day, he makes the decision, right? Sullivan's the one that makes the decision. You can say Bilic does it, but it's Sullivan that signs the check at the end of the day. He's now not listening to his transfer expert over transfers. Or am I reading that wrong, Charlie?
No, you're right. That's exactly what's happened. Tony Henry's picked out the guy. They've gone and they've done all this thing, and then Slaven's come back and gone no, and then Sullivan's gone well, that's the end of that then. Like, he needs to. I don't know. It's just a stupid situation. It's just a terrible situation. The hierarchy, just the way it's run, is just weird and bizarre and makes no sense. And I think that comes across very loud and clear through the dealings we make and how we do stuff, because it's sporadic and scattergun and just horrendous in most ways. We don't seem to do anything with any cohesion or consistency. We just sort of do and then hope for the best, and it's weird and bizarre and really progressing as the club. We're never going to progress while it's a situation like this.
Billy was in the live chat said, do you not think the board should leave the transfer recruiting to Slav and the scouts? Well, to expand on that, I suppose, do you think there's almost like a problem with Slav and the scouts in the sense that, you know, David Sullivan of TalkSport said today that he sits down with Tony Henry and Bilic, so it sounds like the three of them sit down, right? Now, that's the case. They've obviously sat down and someone's gone, Tony Henry's gone, Hogan, Bilic has gone, no. They've left the room and they've still pursued Hogan and not pursued whoever Bilic wanted. It's almost like, do you think there's maybe a communication breakdown somewhere, or do you think it's maybe three egos?
It sounds like there's definitely at least two in that room, and I suspect one of them. I suspect those two are actually Sullivan and Henry. Actually, I think Bilic, like I said, when he came in and under the circumstances to accept that the board would have more power over the transfers than maybe they should, I think instantly you're going to get a problem, especially in squad selection. You know, we've spoken many times in the past about players coming in who maybe don't fit a style or don't fit a position in this team and all this other sort of stuff. And I think that's probably quite clear in the hierarchy, as it were. I think if the three of them, I think ideal way to do it, if Slaven Bilic is going to be able to have direct control over transfers, is him to say, I want this position or I want this type of player, and then the scout to go away and figure out what that type of player is and these are some options, this is how much, all this sort of stuff. That's the way it should happen. But it seems to me as if Tony Henry goes off and does whatever, probably under the word of David Sullivan, as it were, and then comes back and goes, there you go, and Slav just went no, which is stupid. It's just stupid. It's stupid. I keep saying it, but it's stupid.
Do you think, Connor's asking in the live chat, do you think we need like a director of football almost, someone to oversee the transfers, or do you think that's sort of what David Sullivan's trying to do, or do you think that's what Tony Henry's supposed to do but doesn't quite get the job title because David Sullivan fancies a little short of it himself? It's almost like real life football manager sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. That's exactly the comparison I was about to make. I think the director of football, as it were, right now is David Sullivan. I think Tony Henry is head scout, but really should be director of football, and Slaven Bilic is stuck just getting what he gets. So I think we could, you know, would someone in the designated role of director of football help? Maybe, but I think adding another person to a communication chain which is clearly broken won't fix that. It will just make it more muddled and confusing going forward, and possibly create a situation where two people are saying one thing and two people are saying another, and they just fight and nothing gets done, which will not benefit anyone, really.
Do you think maybe then you make Tony Henry the sort of director of football then, rather than add someone else, you actually just use one of the people that's in there?
Possibly, or possibly, yeah, that's one option. I think there's a few ways of doing it, but I think personally, something has to change. Something has to change without knowing ins and outs of exactly what the roles are. Something has to change, but that is definitely one way forward, is to give the direct, and then it goes from there.
Do you think, Charlie, now that they've sort of just, I mean, we came into this window needing a striker and a right back. We've basically just passed the buck on to the summer a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah, big time. And you know, there's been a lot of conversations. I've had them on Twitter myself of how much Scott Hogan has cost or is costing, say Villa or us potentially, and saying, oh well, maybe we save that money for summer and then spend more of it on whoever else, some big name player who will definitely improve the first starting 11. But that is 100% dependent on the owners actually spending that money. And to be honest with you, us saving the money now does not convince me that we're going to spend it in the summer.
Well, I'm glad you brought up money because that swiftly leads us on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our next guest with us. We've got Tom with us, and I know Tom is wanting to chat about the money situation. So the live chat has been asking about the money, so I've been waiting because I know Tom's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet. So Tom, what would you like to say? The floor is yours.
Evening, guys. How are you? You all right?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, not bad. I'll have a few beers in a little while once I start talking about depressing things. Money, mate. I mean, the money situation it's becoming a bit of a joke now, Gio. To be honest, all I can see is the amount of money that the club have taken. I mean, let's go through some numbers. £40 million for Upton Park sale, £10 million for Tompkins, the extra TV revenue money. All the staff laid off. You know they don't pay gas, electric anymore. All them sort. It's a massive saving at the club, and I just don't know where the money has gone, mate. £25 million for Pyatt, and they've come out today and said about they've come out and said, well, we haven't got none. £60 million of the Pyatt money. Words just baffle me, mate. They baffle me. I just don't know where the money's gone. There's something seriously going on that we don't know about.
Charlie, would you like to comment on that before I do?
I think there's clearly more money floating around in the club that they are willing to admit. There's clearly more money to be like they've come out and said today, as Tom said, oh, we've spent 16 million of the Pyatt money, so we've got this much of it left. Okay, so then where was the money coming from if we happen to have played Zaza that many times? Where was that money going to come from? Were you just going to pay for it out of your own pocket? Were we just going to go into debt? What was going to happen there? There is clearly more money floating about than they are willing to let on. They are clearly talking about it in a way in order to meld an immediate image which makes them seem like they have less money. Certain. Where it is, what they're doing with it, I don't know. I don't know, because we've clearly got these debts still, but they're not going down. So it's not that transfers. It's not going on wages because we do really well in the wage side of it. We're really sensible. Like everyone keeps quoting, oh, Pyatt was, and then that was with bonuses and add-ons and whatnot. What's it doing? I don't understand. And as you said before, Gio, I can't remember which show it was one of the reviews or previews weeks ago, ambition costs money, and the owners just aren't willing to spend any of it on anything. Like, I think that Scott Hogan deal was actually representing fairly good value for money. 9 million straight up and then 6 million add-ons. If he does well, that he's worth it. And if he doesn't, we can get 10 million from someone like Aston Villa who would want him. So I think even when it's like that, a relatively safe bet, they're not willing to go for it. So where the hell it's going?
Yeah, I would like to know where the money is going as well. It's the Zaza money that infuriates me. I remember doing this in the summer. I remember putting on the forum. I remember doing it on videos. When the Zaza deal went through, the first thing I said was, this money is going to come out in next summer's budget. I knew it. I could smell it a mile off. This whole, it's 5 million, and if he plays 15 games, we'll pay another 17 million. I could just smell that the 17 million was coming out of the summer 2017 window, and we were going to come round to summer 2017. We're all going to go, all right, let's get some players in. We're going to go, hang on, just spent 70 million on Zaza. And everyone go, what? And it's come true. It's come true, because this window now, we should have, in my opinion, we should have 17 million to spend, which was Fontaine, Snodgrass. And a little part of me was thinking, right, well, that's 18 million. That's the Zaza money. I thought, right, okay, I get it. Fair play to the board. And then they came out, and David Sullivan, it might be tongue-in-cheek, but I don't think it was with him, that he said, oh, spent some of the Pyatt money, spent 16 million of it. I thought, oh, God, where is that Zaza money? That's what annoys me. But even if we didn't have Zaza, what also worries me, if Pyatt didn't go this window, does that mean we had no money to spend in January? Does that mean we would have bought Fonte in panic because we thought, right, who we're going to flog? We need to flog someone. And I'll tell you who we were going to flog, in my opinion, for Gooley. It sounds like we were pimping that boy out to Roma as much as we could. So take him. We need some money, take him. And they didn't fancy buying him for whatever. Then he started playing well. And it's almost like the board probably thought, oh, crap, for Gooley's playing well. We've got to keep him now. We can't sell him for 8 million. And where is the bloody money? I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. And I just know that come the summer, we're all going to get our hopes up again, because it's what we do as football fans, not just West Ham fans, it's football fans in general. Every fan does it, every club does it. We'll all get our hopes up. We'll all start to believe a vision. And, you know, in the summer, we all said it, the summer was like a reality check that we're not a big club yet. We're going to have to be patient. It feels like I've just got another reality check in January. It feels like I wasn't expecting anything big. I was just expecting something. Tom.
Joe, in the summer, mate, it's going to get worse. Teams they're going to get the second round of TV money. I mean, and on comparison, and this is how embarrassing it is, the situation with the Championship clubs are paying the same sort of money we want to pay for players. And if he comes out again and says we're going to buy 30, that's not enough, mate. If you want to get a top quality striker, it's going to cost you 50 or 60 million. I'm not saying mate, honestly, the whole situation is absolutely pathetic. I mean, we're not Aston Villa and all these other clubs in the Championship spending money, the same sort of money that we're spending on players. Our whole business model is an absolute, it's a shambles. And you know what? You mentioned where the money's come from. I'm pretty sure, mate, if they haven't got rid of Pyatt, they would have said, well, we had to buy Fonte and Snodgrass to replace the players in January, so we've got even less money this summer. That's what would have gone on this summer. I guarantee it now. And as you said, that's their business model. It's absolutely pathetic, borrowing out next season kitty all the time. Well, what about now? What about the £40 million Upton Park money? What about the extra TV revenue? What about the extra 20,000 seats sold? What about only £2.5 million? Where is the money, mate? Honestly, this is going to be like the biggest sort of theft, sort of like moral sort of theft going. And I can't say, you know what I mean? I just can't stomach it anymore. I've got to say something because it's a joke, Gio, absolute joke.
The books, the finances come out next month. So we'll be how much chat? We'll be digging into those things and doing a few videos to find out where the money is, how much debt have we got, how much money do we owe the owners. But I get what you're saying, Tom. Charlie, you've been sitting there stroking your beard like you're some sort of Taliban bin Laden with a terrorist attack incoming. What are you thinking?
That's the way you're going with that. I was going to go with some sort of wise old sage, but you went there. Okay. No, Tom is 100% correct. When the books come out, all of a sudden the debt has disappeared, accept it. I'll be like, okay, fine. But we all know that's not going to be the case. We all know that's not how it's going to be gone. And I think it's super telling that you have three separate people here, and all of us's conclusion is we don't know where it is. We have no clue what's going on. And it's because of the way they play it. They talk loud in the media because they love to talk. Let's be honest, David Sullivan loves nothing more than the sound of his own voice. And that's not an offensive thing. That's just the case of the matter. He loves to talk. Karen Brady, they love to pimp themselves out and go, look how amazing it is. We've got this many more seats than we used to have. We've sold out all of these games. Yeah, so you're getting more money. And when it comes to that, they go, no, don't know what you're talking about, mate. Money, never heard of it. The summer was really, really bad because they clearly got caught in delusions of grandeur. They were like, we're going to get Laka, we're going to get Lacazette, we're going to get all of these big name players, right? They kept going on and on about it, and none of it happened. And I think they got caught in their own loop of delusions. Club now, because we've got a big stadium. Nope, you got caught out. And now when we go into the summer, we've lost, like, as much as, like, say what you want about Dimitri Payet, he was a huge selling point for the club. It's someone being able to go, there's that guy who was Ballon d'Or nominated, killing it, all this stuff. I get to play with him. A striker could go, he is going to give me assists. He's one of the best chance creators in Europe. He is going to create me chances. That was a huge selling point. And now that he's gone, they're not going to have that anymore. So if they do come into this summer thinking, oh, we're going to get a big name striker, we're going to get big name players, simply put, unless you start putting the money down, you're just not. It's just not going to happen. And it's going to be bad. Go on, Tom.
Look, I mean, just be honest, right? They're businessmen, okay? They've got to take some sort of profit out of the club. I totally get that, but not to the tune of the numbers I'm sort of reading. I'm no accountant, you know. You guys, I mean, but the amount of money I can see that we've had they've taken up to all the things I mentioned before. I'm not silly. They've got to take something out of the club, but not to the tune of potentially getting close to three figures, like 100 million. And you know, and Charlie touched on something there. You know, you're going to get the 25,000-30,000 core sort of like supporters that are at the bowling ground. They're going to renew the season tickets, whatever happens. It doesn't matter if Pyatt's there or not. They're going to renew the season ticket. But Charlie's right. Pyatt's gone now. Last season, that was a big selling point for him. Yeah, you know, obviously some of the things obviously discussed in the thing, like they told us about the debt. But Charlie's right. You know, there's no selling point now. They've got no big sort of name really to sort of try and get the other 25,000-30,000 people that are really there. Like, you know, just expect. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad supporters, but what I'm saying is you're going to get your hardcore go, you know. But I seriously think they could struggle next season to sell the seats, Gio.
Yeah, before I just say, I say Swansea have took the lead at home to Southampton. Alfie Mawson scored, and Chelsea have took the lead at Anfield. David Luiz has got that goal. But what I will touch upon is when Charlie was mentioning the players we're linked with in the summer, what just dawned on me. In the summer, you told us, well, you did tell us, we bidded for Lacazette, Batshuayi, Baka. In January, we bid for Brentford's striker, okay? We went for a championship striker. That's the fall in grace. The fans accepted it. The fans realised that this is the type of striker we have to go for. We couldn't even get him for whatever reason. We didn't even manage to get that striker in. I suppose we could have managed, but the manager decided that he didn't want him, which is fair. It's just fair. But you know, I said it to Tom earlier. You know, we shut the summer transfer window with Carroll, an injured Sacco, Kaleri, Zaza, Ayew, and Fletcher and Martinez. We've now got the same strikers minus Zaza and Martinez. We're somehow 2 strikers worse off at the end of this January transfer window than we were at the start of it. You know, and while people have been saying, oh, we've spent 16 million this January transfer window. We made a £9 million profit. We made a £9 million profit in this window somehow. You know, Tom's right. David Sullivan said himself. David Sullivan on TalkSport earlier said average players these days cost 10 to 12 million. You're right, Dave. You've only spent 16 million. So what does that tell you? That you've brought in 1.5 average players. You know, Fonte is good and Snodgrass is good. They've both got something to offer. But the point is, by David Sullivan's own analysis of the transfer window fees, he's almost in an indirect way admitting that it's frustrating. It's really frustrating as West Ham fans. Now Charlie's going to ditch us in a minute. Charlie, is there anything you want to say on the Hogan thing before or the money before you bail? But when you're back later, we'll be discussing something else, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that the way we are run is fine if your ambitions are for someone who will just avoid relegation every season. You know, we made some good signings in the summer. Let's not beat about the bush. I was super happy with Fuguli and Nordveit specifically because they played for Champions League clubs before. And there are other people we got like Ayew who I'm really happy we've signed. But when it comes to actually spending money, if our ambitions are to finish 15th every season, but don't then come out and say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to be amazing, we're the best, aren't we? Look at that. Trying to get pats on the back. And then when it comes down to it, unfortunately, the game you're in, football, the business, it's money driven. Money, you're never going to go up. And I hate to quote you because you annoy me every time you say it. But you're right when you say if we're not going forwards, then we're going backwards. There's no such thing as standing still. And it's true. If we don't start spending the money, that's what's going to happen. When Wolves are spending 13 million on a winger from Benfica, and we're spending basically 16 million on Snodgrass and Fonte, 2 players, there is a big problem. And as we all know, unless like I said, unless they come out and it goes, there's no more debts, we are 100% debt free, then I will maybe accept it in the way that once Arsenal were debt free from the stadium, they started spending again. And unless that's the case, it's going to be another summer full of shows like this of us complaining. Basically.
So I just want to pick up something you said there, Charlie. Before I do that, you guys in live chat, get your comments going. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it in a second. Charlie's going to be jumping in the live chat, and I think it's young Tom that's in the live chat is going to be coming on. But Charlie, we'll see you in a bit. Tom, what I will say about what Charlie was just saying there. Charlie said there that if you're wanting to finish 15th, that's all very well. Well, my problem is, surely we moved. The reason behind moving, right, was so we don't aim to finish 15th every season. Am I correct or am I wrong? Is that not the reason behind moving? And it just feels like Charlie's got a point that we're almost saying, let's just stay mid-table in the Premier League and everything will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the pledges, Gio. You're totally right, mate. One of the things they said to us is this stadium. Ray Vincent said in his big speech, this is going to be a step up. This is the time, you know, and all this sort of. And yeah, it's not going to be instant, is it? You know, but you know, when Man City moved into their stadium, they've done a big name signing, didn't they? With what's his name? It evades me now. What's his name that when Man City brought Gia?
Rubinho.
Rubino, that's it. Sorry, Rubino. Yeah, they bought Rubino. They made a statement, about but we've done nothing of the sort, and we've got a great team, we've got a fantastic team, fantastic core players, but to move on to the next step, you need to add a bit of thing. Yeah, we got lucky with Lanzini and Pite was a steal when he was here, but now it seems to think that they can do this business all the time. They can get these £8 to £10 million players and again like a 25, £30 million player. They think they can do it all the time, and it's just sometimes you've got to put your money where your mouth is. And that's what I'm saying. And it could cost them 30 or 40, 50 million quid in a flop, which is what Man United. I mean, look at Man United with Martial, and that's what I'm saying. We haven't got their sort of brand and their sort of thing, but we've got to take a punt, mate. As fans, we've got to get used to just being mid-table all the time. That is it. We're not going to go up. We're not going to get maybe push into Europe one season like out of 4. That's our level.
Tom, do you worry that? You said there that we've got to spend all that. Do you worry that the owners, or do you have any trust left in the owners to do the spending, or where are you with the owners, Tom?
I just personally think, mate. If they want to, look, the Chelsea's, the Man Cities, all the ones that Man United are a bit, they're gonna pull away, because they're spending power, and if we don't start. I don't know what the answer is, mate, because I don't think they've got the bottle to spend the money. I really don't think they've got the bottle to spend it. They're going to keep us on a level playing field, and that is it. We just got to get used to the fact that we're going to be fighting it out for Stoke and all the mid-table teams, West Brom. We're going to be fighting out in the mid-table, mate. It's going to be like a different league. It's going to be like the 4, 6 top teams fighting it out for like the top 4. There's going to be a mid-table, that can maybe push into the 7th, 8th, maybe Europe, and then there's going to be obviously the ones that come up every year and go down every year. That's how it's going to be in about 5, 6 years' time.
What I will say to that is, I think you're right, but for me, the problem is the gap between the top third and the middle third is massive, but the gap between the middle third and the bottom third is minuscule, and it takes a couple of performances for you to go from the middle third into that bottom third. It takes a couple of defeats. It takes a horrific injury. It takes a player to decide to go to Marseille and he's not going to play for the shirt anymore. All it takes is something like that. You can go from the middle third into the bottom third just like that. But to go to the top third, you need a bit of that, and if you ain't given that, you ain't getting into that top third.
Yeah, the thing is, mate, right? The thing is, are we happy to be in the Premier League and sort of like be a mid-table team? Probably, if nothing gets said to us and sort of these big like announcements get said about we're going to buy. Yeah, in the day we're realistic. I'm realistic. I know the fact that we had a great season last year, and even the great season we finished 7th. And. But to be honest with you, it's when they come out and say that they're going to keep buying these players and we're going to move up, and all the money that it's just not getting invested in the team. I know it's only been one season and it's a bit maybe jump the gun. People are going to say, oh, you're jumping the gun sort of thing. But for me, no, this is the first season was a statement. As I said, Man City, they made a statement. It was a season to make a statement, and we haven't made a statement. We haven't, it's a better thing to say issues with the stadium, but just haven't made a statement, mate.
Well, you may have noticed Arthur's has joined us. He's been sitting quietly as Tom's been going off on a rant. But I love a Tom rant. Arthur, what's your opinion on what we've spoke about so far? You've been sitting digesting it.
Yeah, obviously we have to deal with Tom's little rants about money every single day in the WhatsApp group. So yeah, it's nice for him to finally vent on the live stream. Yeah, it's true. There is a gap opening up this season between the top teams and the middle clubs. The top 6 is back to what it usually is, which is the likes of Chelsea, Man United, City, all of that. I think if you don't spend, you're not going to improve. And are we happy to be, like you said, are we happy to be that middle ground club that doesn't go anywhere and not make a statement signing, or are we going to put our money where our mouth is last summer and actually make a signing? So it's been frustrating to see. And what I will say is as well, to what you were speaking about previously with Charlie, it's funny because it was almost like David Sullivan went on TalkSport and BBC yesterday and today, and it was like he had to justify himself or speak openly about the Payet selling. I don't see any other owners or businessmen of clubs in the Premier League doing that, talking openly about signings or justifying the reasons why it wasn't needed. He's sold. We don't have to speak about him. We don't have to talk about him anymore, but he still feels the need to go and do these interviews. And I've said it in the past. I still think there is certain things that go on in this club with the owner specifically that shouldn't be the case. And I think that is another reason that he shouldn't be speaking.
While I don't necessarily agree with him being on air all the time, what I will say though is I think the Payet situation is a one-off. I think it's just something that doesn't happen very often across the Premier League as such, not just at West Ham, but the Premier League. So when it does happen, he's obviously going to be getting those calls and stuff. But yeah, but Tom, do you think, Arthur, sorry, do you think that, you said we need to spend big. Do you think maybe we are saving up for the summer? Is there a little bit of you that believes that we are? Obviously, there's hope, but is that all it is? Hope?
Yeah, it is at the minute, because we almost sort of said last year with the prospect of Europe, the new stadium, the money that should have been there with the sale of Upton Park, etc. We were hoping for that big money signing. We had big offers in for a Lacazette and Batshuayi and people like that, but we just didn't pull the trigger on. We didn't offer the money they wanted at the time, and it's a shame. And it's like, yes, I'm going to go back into this season with a bit more hope, but after this January transfer window and last summer, what hope really is there for us to have? I mean, obviously, there will always be some form of hope in there that we can make that signing, but I haven't got much confidence that they will execute upon their, saying that they will get a top signing in the summer. I don't trust them enough to go and do that at the minute, and that's not because I don't like them, but it's just because they haven't shown it in the last year. What have we got to base it off of? And especially, like you made a comment a minute ago that calling Fonte and Snodgrass, your average Premier League players around that 10.5 million mark. It doesn't spell confidence for me going into the January transfer window, put it that way. But I'm always hopeful that we can pull off a signing like that.
What I suppose I want to ask you both is this: I'm trying to look at both sides of the coin today. I am trying to, because when I did a show about a week ago or something, I said to Gonzo, I don't want to buy a right back. I said I don't particularly think there's anyone of value out there. I said I'm happy with what I'm seeing with Sam Byram. I think we've got enough backup in Nordveit. I think Czech can play there. I think a massive push. You could play Antonio there. Oxford was still here at that time, so I thought keep our powder dry for that one. But I was thinking we're needing a striker purely because of Andy Carroll's injury. But Tom, do you think maybe what the board are doing, they're looking at it thinking, are we going to go down? No. Are we going to qualify for Europe? Even if we've got Defoe up front, are we going to get into Europe? No. So we're going to finish somewhere between 8th and 14th. So is it just a case of the season's over? We'll just park it, save our money, and in the summer we have the big chest and we go again. Do you think that's what they're trying to get across?
Yeah, I think now, Gio. Yeah, I think they realise that we potentially are going to be safe, and we haven't really got anything, as you said, to really fight for this season. If you want to look at the bigger picture, my own personal view. Do you want my personal view in it?
Yeah.
I don't think they're. I mean, I don't think they're backing Bilic. I don't. The way I look, reading between the lines, the way I see it is that they're holding on to the pennies to give another manager in the summer.
Do you think so? Why do you think that?
I just don't think. I mean, you look at the target. I mean, I know that Tony Henry, as you mentioned, does all the signings and things, and they obviously go to Bilic with a list, or but the ones that even Bilic has wanted to sign, Jelic, Emenike, they haven't been exactly. Yeah, Torre. They haven't really set the league the league alight, have they? Really, they've been absolutely awful, to be honest with you. So I just think. He's only got a year left on his deal after this season. I think he could potentially leave in the summer if he walks or if he gets pushed and they get a new manager in.
Do you agree with that, Arthurs?
In a way, I kind of do, because I know that obviously there's been rumours have spoken that he doesn't want to focus on signing a new contract until the summer. He has been, the board have said that they'll wait until the end of the season to review his time. Maybe Tom's right. Maybe there is a part of them that's thinking, all right, let's see how we finish the season off and we'll review at the end of the year. And if he carries on in the form we've been, winning the last 5 and 7, and he gets us to probably where we want to finish. I mean, the top 6 is gone at this point, but maybe if we can finish 8th around by West Brom, they'll look to him and say, yeah, okay, we'll keep you on for another couple of years and here's the money. But I do think Tom's getting at something there, that they are potentially waiting just to see how the season finishes out to sort his contract before actually providing the money. Because like Tom said, if a new manager was to come in, they will want to be signing their players and potentially trying to help improve the squad, not having to deal with players that Bilic has bought. So I can kind of, in a way, I do understand where Tom's coming from on that front.
Sorry, Gio, to make it clear, I don't want Bilic to go. You know what I mean? I think he's the right man for the job moving forward. But the board
we'll speak about him. We'll speak about him in like the other half of the show, if you like, when you're back home and speak about Bilic. What I will say to back up your point is they've only half backed Bilic in this window. This is what I said at the start to Charlie. they've half-backed him, and they've used him as an excuse. I hate people that are saying we've backed Bilic. We haven't backed Bilic. We've just used Bilic as an excuse as to why we're not getting certain players. But backing a manager is getting the players the manager wants. That's backing a manager. We ain't done that. We've said we ain't getting Hogan because the manager doesn't want him. Okay, but where's the but? There is no but. It's just like, oh, well, so we're not going to get anyone. It was Hogan or nothing. You know, it's almost like it's how you treat your child sometimes. You know, I've got you this sweet. Do you want it? No, well, you're not getting one then. You know, I'm not going to go to the shop and get you another one. You get this sweet or you don't get any. And the child says, no, you don't get it. You know, and it's almost like we're treating Bilic like a child. So I can get where you're coming from. And it genuinely worries me, actually. It worries me a lot. And that's why I want to talk about him, because I do fear as to what could happen to Slav a little bit. And it's not, like Tom said now, it's not to do with what we want. We can speak about that. It's about what we're reading from the board and the vibes we're getting and stuff, and the actions that are getting taken at the club that we're thinking, hang on a minute, this isn't the signs of a manager that's got the 100% backing.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the debt thing. You know, I know we've got a lot of debt, but I think it's secured and it's owed to the owners, and there's a set agreement with that, right? So the only other reason is there's obviously other things come into play, like, you know, other charges or whatever, unexpected charges, which is the reason why we haven't spent. Or the most logical reason, as I just mentioned, as you just talk about, is they're not backing the manager. I mean, that's why I can only see the fact we've got a lot of money, and maybe potentially they're going to give a new manager a big war chest, or give him the bigger targets, and say to him, you know, we're going to try and push on, as we mentioned before, try and get to the next level. I don't know. That's my own personal view on it, mate, and I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit.
Tom, before you disappear for the next guest in a few minutes, is Bilic the right manager to take us to the next level? We keep saying this board ain't the right board, or this board ain't got what it takes. Does our manager have what it takes to get to the next level?
Well, yeah. I mean, this season hasn't been great, but I think that's to do with the last season was absolutely fantastic. He got us to 7th on really not a great deal. You know, I think it was about £30 million spent overall on players. You know, Pyatt was about £11 million of that. I think Bilic is a fantastic coach. I mean, I would like to, if he can get that, if he can do last season with what he done last season, what can he do? I mean, this is the gamble, you see. I would like for him to get given the gamble of actually doing it, but I don't think the board have got a lot of faith in him. So I would personally, I would love Bilic to get that, if it is true about the money, you know, get the money next season in the summer and spend the players and get the players he wants. But as I mentioned before, that is a bit of a dodgy subject with the players he did want.
Before you go, Tom, last question for you. You've said two things there. I'm going to put them together for a question for you. You've just said that Bilic's signings have been crap, right? Tory, right? And you just said that the board probably don't trust the signings, right? You said that, yeah?
Yeah.
So why are the board trusting Bilic's judgment on Scott Hogan?
It's a good. I mean, I don't know, mate. Scapegoat, maybe he's a scapegoat. I don't know, but mate, as I said to you, mate, maybe hopefully they're going to have more money in the summer. Well, I can only see they've got more money. What I can see, you know, and instead of going for the £15 million players mentioned, they're going like for free £30 million players, or 40, 50, maybe a couple of 20. You know, they're going for some big players to really. It's a problem. Same as last year. They've done well to sort of, you know, do well with the squad. Like, you know, they bought 14 players. But really, they need to buy 3 or 4 decent players. It's going to be exactly the same this summer. It's going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, well, I suppose. Well, Tom, I'll let you go, but you'll be on again later on tonight. So cheers. I hope you enjoyed your rant. Actually, we enjoyed it. The live chat enjoyed it. Arthurs, what do you think about what Tom just said there?
See you later, guys.
See you later, mate. He hit the nail on the head. You know, he's very wrong when it comes to having a rant about stuff.
And if he is, you still can't argue because he will make you feel like you're wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you'll have to see his side of the point. No, I think he hit the nail on the head. I think the thing is with Bilic, I know that Gonzo knows harped on in the past about him being tactically inept, and where I think to an extent Bilic has made some questionable substitutions and he has mucked about with the formation. We understand that, but I think one thing his overall quality is he's a fantastic man motivator. Every interview that I see with a player who's signed for the club says, I've spoken to former players and I've spoken to players that have played with Bilic or been under Bilic, and I said what a fantastic man he is, a man motivator. He has a passion and he has a way that he wants to take the club. He has a project almost. And I think that speaks volumes for a lot of people. And I've seen him on the sideline. He cares a lot more than a lot of other managers do. I think he doesn't mind showing that passion. Every game he's always the same. Sorry, when
No. I'm just picking up on something you said there. Do you think maybe he cares too much? Do you think maybe the reason he doesn't want Scott Hogan is because he cares too much about Ashley Fletcher's development in a way?
Yeah, I think he does. It's funny actually just to think about that, because even today, like, he came out and said to the press that Payet has nothing to apologise for. And like he said, sometimes I think he just does care a bit too much about his players, which can be good sometimes, but sometimes it can be bad, And like you said, maybe he does care about bringing Ashley Fletcher's development through. But even then, he's not given a great opportunity, a great deal of chance to the young players that we've had this year. But I don't know, maybe he does.
Perhaps that's his point, though. Perhaps he's thinking, I'm not bringing in a striker because I'm not giving this guy his chance yet. And until he gets his chance, you ain't getting one here. And also Kaleri. He's very fond of Kaleri. It's quite obvious he's fond of Kaleri. It's almost like he's got his arm around Kaleri a little bit, thinking this guy's young, he's in a new country, a new league, and I'm going to help him settle here, although he's only got 4 months left of his loan deal. But I think you're right. He almost cares a little bit too much about Kaleri as well.
Yeah, just you picked up on it. I was about to say, he's even said to us in press conferences in the past, Kaleri has a future at West Ham, and he said that. And the fact that he scored the other day against Middlesbrough, fair enough, took a massive deflection. But that's probably given Bilic confidence to say, yes, you still have a place here. Giving him confidence to say, I believe you can get it done. Whether or not we'll see him, or if he backs up to Carroll or Fletcher, I don't know. I don't think even at times Bilic knows what position his strikers are: number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. But yeah, he does. He obviously does care a lot, because we've seen that the way he's openly backed Kaleri, as the fans have almost been quite disgruntled with Kaleri.
Do you think it's a risky choice backing Kaleri so publicly and being willing to sort of take him on as your arguably his second choice striker while Saka was out, because he came on ahead of Fletcher at Middlesbrough, so we can only go by our last game, I suppose.
Yeah, it is risky, but like we said, if he has that confidence in him, then we have to almost trust that he knows what he's doing. I personally prefer Fletcher ahead of Kaleri, but then again, Bilic may see it differently in training. But like I said, I think he's willing to take that risk, and hopefully it pays off for him. So.
There's mixed reactions about Kaleri in the chat here. Some people have said he's rubbish, but Nibbles says he hasn't been given much time. Clayton says he's only 23, give him a chance. Connor says he played well against Middlesbrough. Anthony's just joined us. Anthony, what's your thoughts on Kaleri? Is Bilic taking a risk using him as his second/third choice striker going into the remaining 4 months?
There is a point in saying, have we really given the guy a chance? I'm not a huge fan from everything I've seen, which is not much, like you're saying. I think there is a risk attached, considering everything you've just discussed about marquee signing strikers. But the guy doesn't look like he's got a lot of confidence at all. I know you need to run a games, and get the fact that strikers or players, they do need to run a games in order to get confidence and build up the confidence. But you looked at his game against Middlesbrough, and got that goal, although we discussed in the preview, should that have goal been given to him? But it's only going to do him confidence. But am I happy with him? No, I'm absolutely not. Discussing on what we've been talking about in the past hour or so, I'm not happy that he's going to be our second or third gamble choice.
Well, I'll come back to you for your opinions on the window overall, because I do want to hear them. But Arthurs, just quickly, we're talking about it's a risk to rely on Kaleri. Is it a bigger risk to rely on Kaleri than it is to bring up Hogan from the Championship for 9 million and make him your second choice striker? Which is the biggest risk, or are they quite similar?
It's a really good question,
One of them's a 9 million. One of them's a 9 million risk at the end of the day. Another one sort of know what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. And me personally, I would like to see us dip down in the Championship. I'm all for going down and picking up players from the lower leagues and bringing them through. He's an English player. He's proved himself this season. Why not give him the chance to perform on the biggest stage or in the Premier League? I would rather take that risk on him. I want to add to what Anthony said previously. We were there, Bournemouth, the start of the season. I think even against Domzale or Astra, he had 2 or 3 chances where he completely spurred both. He mucked up one-on-ones countless times. And I think that's done no good for his season. I'm really hoping for his sake though, because I do think we said before the season started in the transfer shows and the previews, we'd all like to see potentially taking a punt on Caleri, because we'd seen what he was capable of in over in Argentina or Brazil or wherever he was. So I do think, hopefully, for his sake, that if we're not going to go get Hogan, that this game against Middlesbrough, because he did play very well, he had an overall complete 20-30 minutes, that he can carry on from here. Otherwise, I can't help but feel if he has one or two of the misses that he had at the start of the season, that will be it for the rest of the season, and we would have potentially missed out on a £9 million Hogan that could have, quite easily done a job and got more goals than he did.
Just a quick score update. Crystal Palace took the lead away to Bournemouth. Big Sam's team are winning. He said he would take a 0-0, but he's winning 1-0. Scott Dan with the goal. Anthony, come on then. What's your thoughts on the no striker rule for this transfer window?
I just don't get it. I'm absolutely baffled. Maybe answering the question also that you just gave to Tom there. We should be taking risks with some of these players. A lot of people are trying to compare the Caleri situation to the Tevez situation, but there was absolutely no way that the same hype was around the two players. There was a different sort of hype around Tevez. Plus, when Tevez wasn't scoring the goals when he was playing, he was definitely given 110% every single game that he was done. And then his just rewards came when he started banging in the goals at the end of the season. So the hype, there was hype that he scored goals in South America, and they were saying the next Tevez, but how many times have we heard about the next such and such that's never fruitioned? The policy of not getting
just to butt in, Anthony, I don't recall anyone calling him the next Tevez.
I've seen quite a few tweets kicking about Gio. There was quite a few.
He was the next big thing coming out.
Next big thing from Argentina, yeah. I've seen a few of that. And I just thought to myself, okay, I got a bit excited. I didn't really know much about the guy. I don't think any of us knew really much about him, to be honest. But I had heard of Tevez before we had signed him. I'm not saying that's the reason why he was going to be a better player or whatever, but this is 2 windows we've gone through now that we are crying out for a striker. I'm baffled. I'm confused. Money, we have the money. So where is it going? I don't want to keep going on about it, but maybe we are going to have to go on about it. If you look at the transfer window so far, we have had Payet's gone and Ogbon is injured. We have just replaced those 2 players. That's it. So we have not really grown as a team, not strengthened our team anymore, in my opinion. And striker was the one that they said from last summer, from the last game, that they're going to do, and they've just not gone against their word. And again today in the interview with David Sullivan, he said, bear with us, West Ham fans, bear with us. Let's maybe wait till the summer. And I was sitting there thinking, what are you talking about, mate? You've promised us twice you're going to get a striker. Where is he?
Well, they tried to get Hogan, the manager, one of them apparently. But Anthony, would it make a difference to you? Would it make a difference to you, Anthony, if Bilic came out and said, bear with me, I'm waiting until the summer?
No, I see, to be honest with you, Gio, I don't really care. It's got to the point where I'm just really pissed off now. I'm like, why are we not signing a striker? Why are all these teams, you look at a player like Negredo who's scored again tonight. I mean, I know there's a little bit of controversy with some of the fans saying, why would you not go for him? But to me, it's like, he was reasonably Premier League proven. He was on the cheap. Why don't you go and sign a player like that? I don't know how many goals he's on for the rest of the season, but add that to our tally, then he's not even a marquee signing. So there's players out there. No, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, okay, the board wants someone, Bilic doesn't want someone. You've got to go with what your manager says. But now I'm getting really, really annoyed with the situation.
I'm quite surprised that you're getting annoyed, because you're the most positive one on the channel, actually. You're the most positive, confident one, and you're angry, and then there's something not right. Mathers, have you got anything to say about what Anthony was just getting angry about?
Yeah, I was trying to keep it. I am angry, but I was least person I was expecting it from was Anthony. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we gave Zaza, how many games did we give him? 12, 13 games?
Yeah, but you say games or appearances, but how many starters was there? About 5 or 6. But while Zaza was on the team, the whole team were playing crap. It was like he wasn't like he was getting chance after chance on a plate and stuff. And while I'm not saying we should have signed him, I do think there's a player in there. But let's not go into that. But yes, okay, he got 15 games or something.
Yeah, it was just really just sort of how many more games are we going to give Caleri, sort of thing, for him to try and prove himself, especially when Carroll's on song, sort of say, go on, you're gonna.
Well, what I was going to say is, why are we giving Kaleri time in a way? Because what happens if he does prove himself? Then what? What are we doing in the summer?
Yeah, okay, we're back to square one again. What do we
Shake
do?
his hand, slap his arse, and off he goes again.
Yeah.
And we're then going, right, who are we going to get? Oh, look, there's that guy who scored 6 goals for Aston Villa between January and then the summer. Who's that? Scott Hogan? Oh, right, okay, no.
Yeah, it's the truth. And, you know, I think only to echo what Anthony said, because he was spot on. You know, it's starting to get a bit of a joke now. We're 2 hours left of the transfer window, and we're obviously not after a big name striker. We're not after a right back. We've not improved the squad. We've just filled positions of players that were injured and leaving. There is a lot more money, like Tom said, kicking about than we think there is. There's a whole host of issues, but it's just quite boring just to say it over and over again, because it's just the common theme with surrounding the club at the minute. And it is frustrating. And I think that, you know, go back to the summer again, we'll see how long it takes them to pull the finger out their arse and start making signings. Because I think, you know, halfway through the summer, the fans again, they will turn like they have this year, the last year, you know, with the signings, they will turn again. And I think it could be a bit more vicious next summer, you know, because this will have been the 3rd window in a row where we've not improved or we've not built to actually bolster the squad. But, you know, it's how long it's going to take the board to be held up for account, you know, and responsible for their actions. I don't know, but it is becoming a bit of a joke now, and it's frustrating.
Well, answer for yourself. You're saying how long will it take for the board? How long are you giving the board? Are you giving the board this summer window coming? It's a case of you need to stump up or get out, or what you say for the summer?
This is the thing, because I can't really judge it off the next 2 hours, obviously. So they'd have to have the summer, but I would fully expect, and I mean fully expect, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same, that we need to go out in the summer, and there needs to be a set aside, especially with the TV money deal, the amount of millions that's being made, and on all the bonuses from the stadium, everything, that there needs to be at least 40 or 50 million pounds set aside for the summer on a striker. We need to get those choices before we get to the summer, know who we want to go for, and just keep our mouth shut. Just keep our mouth shut and just go about our business and do it quietly. And we could be all right. But it's, like I said, if they don't do it next summer, there is going to be some serious uproar. And I don't want to be in their position if that's the case. But like I said, they have to know their targets. They have to have a set amount of money set aside for them. Otherwise, there's going to be trouble. And we don't know who's leaving in the summer yet. So we don't know. They're going to have to obviously probably replace other positions as well. You know, Collins is likely to leave. The right back situation, Arbeloa might leave. You know, so there's going to obviously be other positions we're going to have to strengthen in. But they're going to have to seriously buckle up their ideas and make sure that they go about it in the right way, and not just buy random squad players to improve on, you know, the overall squad. They have to know what they want to do, set aside the money for it, and go for it. Otherwise, people are going to be seriously wound up.
Before we move on to Anthony, Tom, is this window the last window? I mean, summer we all say it was about bulking out the squad. It was about getting squad players in. Do you think January was sort of the last of that? We got in a decent centre back, and well, yes, he replaced Ogbonna. By the end of the season, we're going to have Fonte, Reid, and Ogbonna. We're going to have 3 top centre backs in for our Premier League team. We've now got Snodgrass in. Okay, he's not the same quality as Payet, but we can only assume that we're going to be replacing Payet in the summer. And it's not Snodgrass that's replacing Payet. But the point is, though, you could essentially replace Payet with a top striker, and you know what I mean. But is this, for you, this window, the last window for bulking out the squad? Is it a case of now the squad's done, we only need, what, 3 players in the summer? And that's it? Go get 3 quality players. Tom?
Oh, crap, was that to me? Oh, crap, sorry, I thought that was Anthony. The entire time, I was just expecting that to go to Anthony. Sorry, mate. Yes, no. Yeah, no, it is, though. It is. There has to be 3 quality signings. If we really do want to push up to the level of the big boys, so to speak, like we were supposedly afterwards, then it has to be a striker, someone like maybe a Perisic. I know you've been banging on the Perisic drum for a while now. And a keeper, maybe like likes of Joe Hart or something. Just some big name players that are going to get the fans excited and really get us to what we, you know, potentially where we wanted to be when we moved into the stadium. This is what the owners spoke about. It was about getting to that next level, and to do that, you're going to have to go and sign players. So, like I said, like you've just alluded to there, this is the last window, January, for bulking up the squad. The next summer has to be, like we said at the start of the season, we didn't improve on our starting 11. We just improved squad bulk. Next time round needs to be 2 or 3, maybe even 4 positions that are gone and raised our game a bit, and I think that has to be probably in the form of a striker, a keeper, and maybe even a centre mid to replace maybe Noble, as it might be his last season at the top, if you were, but there needs to be some serious. And a right back, yeah. We're still banging on the right back drum, yeah. And a right back. Everything that could have been avoided this January if we'd have done it last summer. But no, maybe we can be hopeful again that this summer will be that summer where we go out and get those top tier players.
Quality over quantity. Anthony, you've been listening patiently there. What's your reactions? What are you thinking?
When it comes to the summer, I mean, I'm not waiting the whole spell. I'll get annoyed and frustrated if we are sitting at transfer deadline day, or even a month or a week or whatever, a couple of weeks before, we've still not signed anyone. They need to go into this market really quickly. There isn't no big tour. I don't think there's a big tournament on this summer coming up, is there? So players will be available. Yeah, okay, prices might be inflated, but it's getting to that point now. We're not spending the money, so I want us to go out and spend the money, spend it big, get the player in, get used to the squad, get used to the players that are there. And gel with the team. It's what we were promised. It's not happened this window. It's not happened last window. But coming into this window, I fully expect after the summer break, when the players go away, come back on their holiday, the board are working hard. Slaven Bilic is working hard. They're bringing in this top striker that we're looking for. Not guaranteed you're going to get goals from every single top striker, but the marquee name that we're looking for that can gel with the squad, that can gel with the team, and then we can try and progress as a team up front. It just baffles me. It baffles me even today when David Sullivan spoke on the radio station saying Carroll's on form, he scored 5 and 10. Yeah, that's good. He has scored 5 and 10, well done. But he's probably, and hopefully not, but probably going to get injured again. So then we're left with Sacco. And then Sacco's going to come in, hit a couple of goals, and probably going to get injured again. And then we're left with Caleri, Fletcher, and whatever is the rest is in the team. It's like, what is going on? It's so frustrating.
Well, speaking of goals, Shane Long's just banged in an equaliser, so Southampton are now drawing away to Swansea, another striker we were linked with not long ago. And Arsenal have got to go back. Hopefully they're not going to be party poopers, but Alex Iwobi has scored to make it 2-1 Watford at the Emirates. All right, we're going to start taking some questions in the chat, so start firing them in. We should have a new guest join us soon. Arthur, stay here until the new guest joins us, though, just in case he doesn't make an appearance. There's anything else you want to chat about before I pick the next topic?
I thought that was a fantastic point by Anthony. There's no tournament in the summer. Get your business done early. Give them time to gel with the manager and the squad. I think that is a fantastic point, because I do not want to see us getting down to the final hours of the transfer window and West Ham pull out a big signing on deadline day because it could scupper us going into the season. I think we just get in, get our business done early, give them time to gel with Bilic, keep Bilic in the summer, keep him on in his contract, and just give them time. Just give them time to gel and with the squad. And I'm praying that it's going to happen, because I can just see it all going tits up and not happening that way at all. But it's wishful thinking.
Right, some quick questions. Anthony Callum Collins says, do you think the board are spending low to make as much profit as they can to sell the club in the future?
There is a theory. You could have maybe agree with what he has said, but so am I right in saying the owners of now are physically classed as billionaires? But
Sullivan is, yeah.
Sullivan is, so, but is that a Sullivan that's spending money? If he spends money, does he still become or stay a billionaire, you know?
He doesn't necessarily have cash. He's got assets.
Yeah. So when I look at other top level teams who have been backed with all this money, these guys still have the status like of that billion. I don't know. I'm yeah, maybe they are. I do think that they can't compete with what is happening in the Premier League, and it's inevitable that in the next couple of years, in my opinion, they should sell.
Well, Arthur brings you on to the question from Conor Matthews. He says, do you think the owners will sell the club in the foreseeable future?
Yeah. personal opinion, I think they will. Within the next 5 years, I think they will.
Right, here we go. Arthur's bugger off. Join us later. We've got our next guest.
See you in a bit, boys.
Cheers. Right, our next guest, you'll recognise this pretty boy from the West Ham Fan TV. Ryan, what are you thinking tonight?
Oh, how dead is it, mate? How dead is it tonight?
There's nothing going on around the Premier League, is there?
Oh, mate, it's been one of the most boring transfer deadline days ever.
Yeah, the word dead and deadline certainly living up to the reputation. But what about West Ham's business? Are you disappointed there's no striker, or do you understand why Slav's going to keep his
Well,
what he's got?
it's proper West Ham, innit? We went into this transfer window needing a striker and a right back, and we signed a centre back and a left winger. So, yeah, I am disappointed we ain't got a striker, but, you know, it's Bilic's decision at the end of the day. He thinks we've got enough.
Do you think he's taking a risk? Do you think he's taking a risk having injury-prone Carroll? Then after that, you've got Fletcher and Clay. Sacco is back, but he's not meant to be back until March. That's another month and a half away until we've got our striker back.
Yeah, I think obviously they're banking on Antonio becoming one of our main strikers. Plus, you've also got Andre Ayew that can play out front as well, so they're probably looking at that option as well. But I'm disappointed with the Hogan deal. I thought we've chased him all transfer window, and final day he's ended up in the wrong claret and blue. He's gone to Villa.
Do you think? Obviously, you wanted him as well. I mean, we've all been quite keen of him over here, and so have you boys over at West Ham Fan TV. But do you think we maybe mugged Brentford off a little bit? We've unsettled him. He's missed a couple of games with a bum injury, etc. And then the day before the transfer deadline day, we go, "Nah, you're all right."
Yeah, I do feel sorry for him because he was probably thinking, I'm going to take the step up, prove myself in the Premiership. And I've just seen the half-time score there. Brentford are actually beating Villa 2-0. So, I do feel sorry for him, but I'd love to have seen him at West Ham.
Anthony, Ryan mentioned Andre Ayew there. Is this Andre Ayew's opportunity? So far, you could argue that he's got injured at the start of his West Ham career, so he's had to kind of get slotted in where he can. But now he's going to be coming back from the African nations, hopefully fit. A bit of confidence. He's scored a couple of goals over in the tournament as well. So is this his opportunity now to play where he wants to play? Now that Payet's out the team, we need a cover up front.
Of course, it's his opportunity. I think if you'll remember back to the video we done at the beginning of the season, it was one of my hot tips to be Hammer of the Year. It's not going to happen, but this guy is. If you think back to the game we played against Swansea last year, he did tear our defence apart. He knew what he was doing. He's done it all season last year. Came into the game against Chelsea, he's got injured. He's been away to African Cup of Nations. He's looking decent. He's fit. He's scored his goal for West Ham. It's his opportunity to come back in the team. If we're not going to sign someone now in the last couple of hours. So this is his opportunity now to come into the team and show them what he was bought for. He's still not the marquee signing that they're saying, but I'm excited about if they can play him in that position that they want to. Well, what is that position they're going to play him in? Is it going to be on the wing? Is it going to be behind the top man? I don't know, but he's got to take this opportunity with his two hands.
Do you agree with that, Ryan? Do you think this is Andre Ayew's big chance until he's got now until the end of the summer transfer window, essentially, do you think, to sort of nail down his place in the starting 11?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's had a good tournament out there. I mean, looks like they're one of the favourites to win it now. And as you said, I mean, last season at the Boleyn, when Swansea played, he tore us apart. So, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing him come back. I think he will fit in well. He might link up well with Andy Carroll. But it's just we're banking on Andy Carroll staying fit again.
Well, that's actually a question I've been saving for this. Do you think maybe, Ryan, do you think maybe part of the reason we pulled out or Bilic didn't want Scott Hogan, he's kind of not stumbled across, but he's come across this thing in the second half against Palace where he put Carroll up front, Antonio playing off him, worked an absolute treat. Did that against Middlesbrough for 9 minutes, worked an absolute treat. Do you think Bilic should maybe thinking this is how I'm going to play, and Hogan maybe isn't the type of guy that I need to play up there alongside him or that? Whether you think that's right or wrong, but do you think maybe that's what Bilic is thinking?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, it was going to be a risk but spending £15 million on a Championship player. But I think he could have taken a step up. I like the look of him, but with Andy Carroll, I mean, at the moment he's unbelievable. It's the Carroll that we've all wanted to see, and if he stays fit for the rest of the season, he will get 10 to 12 goals easy. I love Andy Carroll. I love watching him play, and it just showed against Palace. It's not only with his head. You see the goal he scored, and I think they're going to put that on the side of the stadium there, and that image of him with that overhead kick.
Yeah, quite right. He spoke in an interview today about how he's loving it at West Ham. He's 28 now. His contract's up at the end of next season. So, Anthony, do you think Carroll essentially is playing for a new deal in the next 5 months?
Yeah, he is. Of course, he is. But he's gonna have to show loyalty to the club, because we have stuck by him through thick and thin, through the amount of injuries he's had. About what Ryan said there, he's playing at the top of his game. He's unplayable. He is always unplayable when he's on that park. Defences don't know what to do. He causes utter havoc in the defence, whether that means he's scoring a goal or creating an opportunity the other side of the park, because they are panicking every time he plays. So I think, yeah, I can't see how, even if he does get injured, why we're not going to reward him with a deal, because that is the West Ham way. He provides us with some decent games in a year, and we'll probably reward him with, especially what his recent performances have been, because he has been like off of the ball, even in defensive way. He's all over the park. He's clearing the ball from the front post. Like, he's currently unplayable.
Clayton's asking if that's Andy Carroll in your kitchen making a racket. I'm
not going to tell my wife you said that.
Well. Ryan, earlier in the show and in the chat, and I suppose on social media today, there's been a lot of criticism about lack of spending. Are you one of the ones giving critique to the board and saying, well, you've made a £9 million profit in the January transfer window? How have West Ham managed to make a £9 million profit? Or are you thinking that we ain't going to qualify for Europe, we're not going to go down, so we're just as well saving the bulk of our money for the summer when we've got a lot longer to go buy a player?
Yeah, but they sort of said the same thing in the summer, didn't they? They were going to spend big, and they never. But no, I'm a bit gutted that we haven't gone out and spent. But this time of year, it's you always take a risk signing someone in January, and you don't really want to spend big. But I'd like to have seen us spend some sort of money. But I know we got Font and Snodgrass in, but just on a striker, just to bring someone like even a proven striker in. But I can see why they haven't done it. Yeah, well, like you said, I don't think we're going to go down, and we might challenge the top 8 if we go on a good run now. But summer's where we've really got the board have to spend in the summer now.
Do you think, Ryan, just to pick up on that, do you think the board are putting pressure on themselves for the summer transfer window? Is it a case of now that fans are sort of losing their patience, if you like? They're starting to think, right, hang on, in the summer we thought you've screwed up, go sort it in January. January's come, we're coming out of January, and they haven't really sorted it as such. So now it's a case of you must sort it in the summer, that's it.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, whether he was right or wrong, we've just lost our best player, Dimitri Payet, the best player we've had over West Ham for a long time. And to lose him is a big blow, as much as we wanted him to go after what he said. So now we have to bring in some big names in the summer, like Joe Hart's been linked. I think he'd be great for West Ham. I'd love to see him now. I heard Daniel Sturridge today, 25 million. He's a bit of a risk for me, Daniel Sturridge. As much as he's a great player, 25 million on an injury-prone player is a lot. But they have to go out and not do what they've done last season. Say in the summer, saying we're going to sign Lacazette and Bakker, and we end up with Zaza. You know, it wasn't great.
Well, one big name which I was hoping you were going to mention, but didn't, was Sigurdsson. He's just scored. Swansea are now winning 2-1 at home to Southampton. Sigurdsson's got the score sheet. Brentford's made it 3-0 against Aston Villa as well. Anthony, before you bugger off our next guest, whoever it is, if you could replace Payet with someone, who would you replace him with?
Wow, good question. Oh, you've really put me on the spot there. There is a player I would like, and whether or not you class him as you probably would class him as a straight swap player, and reasonably controversial, but it's Daniel Sturridge. I think he's the guy that links up the midfield to the strikers. I need time to think about that, and maybe we need to come back to, but a player that I am interested in, yeah, he's injury prone, but if we can get him fit, I know it's not ideal, but he can link up the midfield to the strikers, and that's something I do see us missing in our team.
Right, well, Anthony, you go bugger off because someone else is coming on in a minute. I'm not sure who it is. I'll get a surprise in a wee second. But I'm not keen on Sturridge either, Ryan. I just think he's too... I think you can afford one injury-prone striker. I think you'll always get off with an injury-prone striker. I do, but I think Carroll takes that role. But there's no denying his talent, though. He's a great player. Yeah, that's why I think you've just got to put up with it. You've just got to accept that he's going to miss half the season. But in order to support that, you go get two decent strikers who, when he is injured, they're capable of filling in. And while you'll miss Carroll to an extent, you'll still have quality up front. And that's why I wouldn't want Sturridge, because then you've got two really injury-prone players, and it would just be panic. Because we've got burnt with Saka and Carroll over the last 2 years they've been here. They're always getting injured at the same times as well. You know, it's not. I know we've got Carroll now, not Saka, but sometimes you're missing both, and you're scratching your head. You're looking at bringing in a kid almost, or a loanee from South America or something. By the way, there's been a goal at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea, Anfield. Sorry, Liverpool just equalised. I don't know who scored, but we'll soon find out for you. But who would you replace Payet with, Ryan?
I like Sigurdsson at Swansea. I think he'd be a good replacement. You'd probably pick him up for about 20-25 million. I can't think of his name now, the Inter Milan boy. I mentioned him on one of my transfers. Yeah, I think he'd be a good replacement as well. But look, I've been saying since last season, I think the man to fill Payet's boots is Lanzini. You know, I think I see it in him last season. He's only young. I think he will go to the very top, Lanzini. He's gonna be a big player for us in the next few months.
Anthony, will you get off? Someone's waiting to come on. We're saying goodbye to you. There we go. He's off now. Ryan, we've been speaking about players coming in on the summer. Let's throw a curveball into this. Are you worried about players going out? Are you worried about Antonio, Obiang, Reed, Lanzini himself? These guys, while we're overall as a team not been performing the best, these players have been shining.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can't even say tie him down to long contracts now, because contracts don't mean nothing, as Payet proved. But the thing is with Antonio, I think he's got a bit of loyalty in him. I think, yeah, I mean, I'll be disappointed to see him go. I'll be disappointed, especially disappointed to see Obiang go. I wasn't a big fan of him when he first signed for the club, but he didn't really get the chances. But when I've watched him the last few games, he reminds me of a young Yaya Toure. Just the way he is, how cool he is on the ball, how calm he is, and I think he's proved it. Since Payet's left, with these players are starting to shine now.
Do you think though? Do you think maybe you just spoke about Obiang there? Do you think he's maybe why we should give Nordveit and Faguli a little bit more time just to settle? Because, like you said, I was the same in the summer. Actually, I remember us getting linked selling Obiang for like 4 million in the summer, and I was thinking, well, maybe we should take it because we ain't getting a game. I'm not seeing that much from him to suggest that he's going to impact the team. So, do you think maybe that Faguli's come on, but Nordveit, he's had an
Yeah, Faguli's one of these players. He's growing confidence every game, and I think like I wasn't a big fan of Faguli, but listen, I think since Payet's gone, a lot of players are starting to step up now and it's like they've come out of their shadow, especially Lanzini, as I said earlier.
Yeah, we've almost got rid of the me. We've almost got rid of me in the team. Yeah, here he is. Come on, Tom.
Tom's live in the Lang form.
I'm back again. You got me another time there on there as well. I'm back 3 times because there's no Gonzo. So unfortunately, you got to put up my ugly.
It's all right, Tom. What have you got? What have you got for us? You've been sitting listening. You've probably been getting wound up about something.
No, not much. I just look at the football results. But there's nothing going on the deadline day at all. Apparently, Bournemouth were going in for that player they had, Aka. You know, the one they had on loan. I think they're going in for him, 18 million apparently. Bournemouth. That's what I'm saying. Bournemouth ain't messing around. They want a player, they'll go for him. They pay maybe that's a bit cheap for him, but no, he's there's absolutely nothing going on in the transfer window at all.
Do you think it's because there's fixtures tonight? Do you think the fixtures have just ruined transfer deadline day in a way? Yeah. I mean, you can't buy a player, sell a player when you've got a game to prepare for you. You're using the players that other people are wanting to buy and stuff.
I think so, mate. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I do think. Yeah, I think you're right. There's games on tonight, and I think it's just killed it. It's just I've never known a transfer window like it, to be honest.
They should have extended it, shouldn't they, till Thursday? They
should have done something, because how are you meant to buy a player? I mean, we were linked with, I don't know, Cesc Fabregas, for example. Well, Chelsea's got a game tonight. There's no way you're going to be able to negotiate anything for any Chelsea player when they've got a game at Liverpool and stuff. And it's just like the fixtures have just completely sucked all sort of fun out of the deadline day. I used to love deadline day. Are you a fan of deadline day usually, Ryan?
Yeah, I love seeing old Jim White getting all excited about 10:30 at night, jumping around because someone Leighton Orient signed someone or something like that. But No, you're right. It's not the same with games going on. Like you said, it's tough to do deals, but why leave it this late to do deals? Get them done the week. It's the only thing with this transfer window.
Right, has anyone got questions in the live chat for Ryan? He's only got another 10 minutes, but he's got a commitment tonight. He's off on a date or something. Tell him what you've got to say. You're waving your hand about.
No, I mean, you touched on the striker situation. I don't know if you spoke. I don't think you mentioned it. Who striker-wise in the summer? Who would you want in the summer, Brian?
Me personally, it's a tough one. You know, I'd like to see
40, 50 million, mate. Come on, you can go for a really good player. That's what I think is going to happen.
40, 50 million. You look. I mean, Lacazette for me, when we was linked with him in the summer, I was excited with him coming in, but it's a tough one. It's tough to, when you put on the spot trying to think of a striker. We'll probably end up with someone like Troy Deeney or someone like that. But I like Andy Carroll. We need a little. I'd like someone like Hernandez. Not going to cost that much. You know what you're probably getting for 20, 25 million.
I'm struggling to think of someone actually. I'm trying to think.
It's tough.
I think the fact that you're right about Hernandez and that, but I think we almost have to be a bit more realistic this summer compared to last summer. I think last summer we all got excited, including the board. I think David Sullivan just believed his own dream a little bit. I know we all got sold a dream. That's what we keep saying. I think David Sullivan sold himself a dream as well, and then he went bidding for these players. He didn't get them. I think he probably thought, hang about, why are these players not wanting to come to West Ham? Why is Batshuayi not coming here? I think he maybe misled himself. Right, you stood down there in the dugout at the London Stadium. When you look around in that, it's very easy to sort of be in awe, isn't it? To look around at that stadium from the pitch level and think, oh, hang on, this is special. And I do wonder, David Sullivan sort of sold himself that this is going to be the step up and we're going to do it like that. But, you know, you look around the Premier League, you've got, I don't know, Callum Wilson, Afobe, you know, are those next level, are they good enough for West Ham? What about yourself, Tom? Who do you go for?
Well, Ryan, actually, I'm not just saying this. Hernandez for me. I've been banging the Hernandez drum for ages. I think he's fantastic. And to be honest with you, that is a step up, isn't it, Hernandez? You know, he's a really good player. I mean, it's going to cost you, as you said, 25, 30 million. And one of the reasons I think we was in for him before, but I think he went 150, 175 grand a week. But now you pay it, wouldn't you? It's the going rate. That's cheap for anything. You know, there's rumours that Sanchez is going for like 400 grand a week at Arsenal, apparently. So yeah, if you want these decent strikers, though, our wage structure's got to change, whatever that is. You know, we keep getting that banged on that as well, don't we, about our wage structure.
And Ryan, Paul Mills is asking, do you think Slav will stay? Earlier in the show, we were discussing Slav, or Tom was saying that he thinks the board aren't 100% certain on him. And I was trying to say, well, I get Tom's point, because while they're saying Bilic didn't want Hogan, and people are saying they're backing Bilic, they're not backing Bilic, in my opinion. Backing Bilic is going and getting the striker he wants. Not getting the striker he doesn't want isn't backing him. That's sort of supporting him, but it's not backing him. So do you think, Ryan, there's something in that, or do you think we're being way too cynical?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be gutted if Bilic left the club. I mean, I love his passion. The one I don't like what he come out with today about the Payet comments. I think saying that the Payet shouldn't apologise to us fans and wishing him well and all that, especially the way, because I think Bilic was going through this sort of period where the fans were starting to turn on him. But when he come out with a press conference and outed Payet how he did, everyone got behind him. We backed Bilic. And I do like him. You know, we've had some shit managers over the last few years with Avram Grant. Big Sam he done all right for us. But Bilic was saying different. He's a bit of passion on the touchline. And like I said, I love his passion. I just wish the board would let him sign players and not the board signing players all the time. Because I think half of these signings, most of these signings we got in the summer were all for the Europa League. We all know that. Gökhan Toure, I mean, I raved about him. Jesus Christ, me and Nicky could have done a better job than him. You know, I think even Tom would have done a better job.
When he's sober. Corky says he thinks Defoe could do a great job. Now, this is an interesting point, actually. Defoe's like a contract in the summer. He's free. Right, would you take him because he's free, but he's then a bit older than he was today, sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Defoe is he would have been perfect in this window for us. It'd have been perfect. I think him and Andy Carroll, I know there's a lot of history, but it was over like 13, 14 years ago. You can't hold a grudge against someone that long. You know, what he did was wrong. We all know that. But if he comes in and scores 3 or 4 goals in 2 games or whatever, you're going to forget it. You're going to celebrate. You're going to think, well, we love Defoe now. We're all going to get our names on the back of the shirt. And then Karen Brady will offer us 25 quid to, you know, get it taken off. What was that about? Jesus Christ.
You know what? That was the biggest PR, like clever bit of, well, we're trying to be clever. They're just reducing the 36 quid. Oh, we'll give you 11 quid off it. We have on for 25 quid. You know what? I'll keep holding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just paid 60 quid for it at Christmas. Now you take it back and pay another 25 to get whatever name you want on the back. I mean, Graham got Zaza on the back of his shirt. He didn't get a refund.
That's true. That's true enough. I think it's a way of getting rid of stock, isn't it? It's like you look good PR wise because people don't think about it. They think you're just getting a cheap shirt. Tick. Get rid of stock. Tick. It's just, well, you think about it, you're right. You know, why are we paying 25 quid for the same shirt? You know, it's 36. I don't have a Pyatt shirt, but I can go get one for £36. It's only like £11 more for me to go get one, without the first.
They need to reduce the Thames Ironworks shirt a bit as well.
Yeah.
They need to reduce that. 55 quid it is.
Shirt, yeah.
Oh yeah, the one that we never wore.
Yeah, but funny enough, that Thames Ironworks shirt's the only shirt we've worn in a game when Zaza scored. Unfortunately, it was against us. So that shirt does.
Good old Zaza.
Tom, what do you think about Defoe? Free in the summer, would you take him, or is it a case of you're too old, mate? See you later. We're moving on to better things.
He's only free in the summer though. If they go down, mate, he's still got 18 months left on his contract. But he's got a clause in it that says he can leave in the summer if they go down for nothing.
They're gonna go down though. I'll put my money on it. They're going down.
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say Sunderland are going to go down. Yeah, again though, mate, it's a bit. I'd take Defoe now and then give him 18 months, and you get 18 months, a bit like Pyatt's situation, you know. Defoe's a bit older, but next year, as I said, if they want to go up the next level, step up to the next level, I think they got to. Defoe would do a great job. It'd be a cheap option, yeah. Again, and they probably would go for Defoe because it'd be the cheap option. But if they want to step up and they want to make a point, then they've got to go for me personally. They've got to go for someone like Hernandez or step up even beyond that.
Ryan, someone's asking, what's your ideal affordable right back? I assume for the summer.
Affordable right back. Well, for the summer or just in general,
just in general. Who would you like to get for right back? I
like the boy at Spurs, Trippier. I like him. I've always rated him when he come from Burnley, didn't he? Was it Burnley he come from? Yeah. I mean, even Cole Jenkinson. I mean, I'd give him another because I like Sam Byram. I think he's going to be our right back for years. We need a bit of cover there, but Cole Jenkinson would have been good in this window. I mean, I see it today. He wanted about 95 grand a week though.
70, yeah.
Crystal Palace. How much? Is it
70 grand? What in
95 grand?
Yeah.
70 grand a week. Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, I like. We'll probably go out. There's probably loads of right backs out there that, you know, that we can't think of right at the moment when you're put on the spot. But yeah, someone like Trippier, or I like what's his name? What's the Southampton right back?
Not Martina.
No, not sorry, Klein at Liverpool. He's at Liverpool now, isn't he?
Yeah, Klein.
Is it Liverpool?
Yeah, for me, I would go for Adam Smith of Bournemouth. There's something about him. Every time I watch Bournemouth, their right back stands out to me. I just think he's got everything that I look for in a West Ham sort of right back. He can get forward, he can tackle, but he can shoot, he can pass. He's got everything, but he won't be cheap. I mean, as Tom just said there, Bournemouth are bidding 18 million for a defender. So they're buying players for 18 million. They're probably going to be wanting to sell players for 18 million as well. So the problem is, while Daniel says affordable right back, we don't know what's affordable at West Ham anymore. You know, we're naming right backs that are realistic. We can probably get them. We can probably get them to West Ham. But the problem is it affordable? We don't know because we don't know what our board's going to spend. We don't know what wages they're going to offer. You know, we say 70 grand a week for Jenkinson, and while we laugh, if we want to go to the next level, 70 grand a week is what you've got to pay every player in that first 11 essentially. Your first team are probably going to be on 70 grand a week because that's just going to be the level. Fonte's on 65 grand a week. think Antonio's going up to 70 grand a week. So we are starting to pay those sort of wages. So Jenkinson, is he 70 grand a week? No, but our right back, if he's going to be first choice, if he's good enough, he's probably going to have to be on 70 grand. And this is where the owners have to get their checkbook out. It's not just for transfer fees, it's for paying the going rate for the players for their weekly salary, unfortunately. I think that's the thing.
Totally
I know people have been saying Payet's on 125 grand a week, and it wasn't 100% accurate, because I think his basic was 68 grand a week, then you have his fees, but his £1 million was spread over a season, and it worked out at 125 grand a week. So even Dimitri Payet wasn't on, 68 grand a week for Payet at West Ham's a lot for us, but for a player of his calibre, it wasn't massive. But Burnley have just scored against Leicester. Tom, Leicester, are they in a relegation battle?
100%. I think they could. It wouldn't be funny. It never happened before. Champions have never gone down. And you know what? We was there last year, and I don't really like their fans, to be honest. Yeah, I'll be totally honest. They were in a good position when we played them last year. Remember when Cresswell banged that goal in 2-1? The scenes when that went in, wasn't it, Ryan? And then they obviously got that dodgy penalty 2-2, and they were singing we won the league, and I really don't like that, And yeah, we've got my nerves a bit. And getting a bit of taste of our medicine this year, getting a taste of our medicine.
Before you go, Ryan, if Leicester do go down somehow, would you play like a vulture on them? Would you go in for Slimani, Vardy, Drinkwater? You've got all these players that won the league last year who are still, even we talk about goalkeepers, Kasper Schmeichel. So would you look at Leicester for a sort of a shopping list, if you like?
Well, sort of one player you didn't mention there that could be an ideal replacement for Payet would be Mahrez. If they go down, you'd probably pick him up for about 20 odd million. Kasper Schmeichel's a good shout, but Joe Hart still for me. I still really want West Ham to push the boat out and get him in the summer. I'd love to see him. But yeah, they've got some good players at Leicester, and I personally, I don't think they will go down. I think they'll probably get a run together and win about 3 or 4 games and something like that. They will stay up because I think there's 3 worse teams than them. But it's just going from champions to relegation battle in one season. It's mental.
Yeah, one of the best things for West Ham fans on transfer deadline day, possibly, Sunderland are currently drawing 0-0 with Spurs right now. So that's good news for us. That's something. But Ryan, is Spurs, as much as we hate them, blah blah blah, but is their transfer policy something we should be looking at? I think I've seen somewhere that they haven't signed a player aged 29 or over for the last 5 years.
Do you know what? It pains me to say this, right? But the way Tottenham Football Club has been run for the last 5 years is and the way they've progressed in the league, and they're always around that top 4 now. That is the way West Ham should be looking. That's what we should be doing. As much as we hate. All right, Tom, I was only joking.
He's away for a beer. He's away for another beer.
He got disgusted because I said about Tottenham. No, but look, Tottenham are a well-run club. They're getting a good squad together now, and let's face it, probably within the next 3 or 4 seasons, they're probably going to win the league. They're getting, and with their new stadium, and they're doing it proper. But yeah, no, I agree. Like Daniel Levy gets a lot of stick, but he sort of knows how to run a football club. They've got some good players there.
Yeah, the frustration for me is whenever we've kind of criticised the owners over transfer spending recently, we always get shown this net spend over the last 5 years in transfer fees. And West Ham are always outside the big 4, but we're always near the top. Oh, we spent 100 million net over the last 5 years. My problem is the reason we're doing that is because we keep buying players like Snodgrass, who he's a good player, etc. But the problem is you ain't going to be able to sell him. And Spurs, as an example, haven't signed anyone 29 over in the last 5 years because they've got a transfer policy. We'll buy them young, we'll develop them, and if they don't cut it, we'll sell them on for a lot of money. They can sell their sort of second team players like Kieran Trippier. They'd be able to get 10 million quid for him. That's their second choice right back because they're buying the right players. Another striker we were linked with in summer's just scored. Christian Benteke just made it 2-0 to Palace away to Bournemouth. So it looks like Big Sam's ready to get his first win. Tell you what, though, the bottom 3 are starting to heat up a little bit. If Sunderland can get a point and Palace win and stuff, but does Tom, does that show just how important our recent runs been, that we've got all these wins together and sort of pulled away? Because it looks like we've got out of there just in time before the bottom lot start to,
Yep.
you know, Swansea won at Anfield.
Yep, and the thing is, mate, Swansea winning now. You know, we're only on 28 points, and as I said, 2 or 3 bad results. You know, we could be right back in it again. And this is the risk, mate. You know, they've took a gamble not getting anyone, and like, you know, they're taking a risk, and this is the gamble now. You know, Bilic's gambled, the board's gambled, and you know, Palace, you're right, 2-0 up. This is Swansea just 1-2-1. You know, Man City tomorrow's going to be a tough game, and you know, we could be. I like to say it, mate. 2 or 3 bad results, we could be right back in it.
Ryan, Ravel Morrison, he's just signed for QPR. It's now confirmed. Do you care?
Not really. I mean, it's a shame what's happened to him, his career, really. I mean, he could have stayed at West Ham and really made a name for himself. Imagine having him and Payet in the same team, you know. But his career's just been wasted. He had all that talent, you know. But when you got managers like Alex Ferguson, Sam Allardyce, all them sort of players that can't handle you, you know, there's definitely not right with him, you know. But yeah, I mean, he probably won't stay at QPR. He'll probably go in the summer and go and play somewhere else. He's just going to be a journeyman now. He'll be like a bit how Victor Moses was, but Victor Moses now seems to have settled at Chelsea, and it's good to see. Shame he couldn't stay with us.
Yeah, I'm not really fussed for him, to be honest. I don't really look out for him. It's come up in the chat. It's confirmed and stuff. And when I see people saying bring him back, I think, oh God, no, that's the last player I'd bring back, to be honest with you. You know, it's sort of a waste of talent, if you like. We see it all the time. Players come through, and sometimes it's just attitude. Sometimes they just don't get a chance. Sometimes they just don't take their chance. But it's certainly lots of potential, but not enough, whatever you want to call it, to back it up. Tom's sitting there looking at the results there. Tom, what's your thoughts on Morrison? Do you care at all?
A bit like Ryan. I mean, he's had a lot of chances. I wouldn't say no to him coming back. You know, I think he's a fantastic talent, but I think he's going by what he's putting out though lately on Twitter and things. I think hopefully he's turned the corner now. He's going to grow up a bit, and he's 23 now, and he's 24. He's still young. He can still have a good career, but he's in his own hands, mate. I mean, when Alex Ferguson turns around and says you're one of the best talents ever seen ever in his life, you know, you've obviously got something. But he's the master of his own downfall, you know. And would I take him back if the opportunity occurred and it was like, you know, I would take him back, yeah, but I wouldn't go out of the way to get him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't make him first choice, but that's my personal opinion, Joe.
I mean, I remember seeing an interview that Alex Song done about Ravel Morrison, and he said he was technically the best player he's ever played with both feet. And Alex Song played with Messi at Barcelona, so that's saying something, you know.
Just a waste, really. It's a shame though when you see players like that come through, and you clearly there's been stuff in his background that's affected him and sort of affected him up there, and that's just what. It's just a shame. He had it all at his feet, and it's almost like his last chance at QPR. Hopefully he does it. Hopefully, I think it's just full time at the Emirates now. It's just finished Arsenal 1, Watford 2, but it just shows how open the Premier League can be. I think there's the big teams dropping points everywhere. The bottom teams are winning now. It's sort of.
Who's looking forward to Arsenal fan TV? I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant.
It's why we love football, mate. It's why we love football results like that.
Yeah, but not on transfer deadline day. They can happen at the weekend, but not on transfer deadline day. Ryan, we're keeping you. Are you okay? Or
I've got another 10 minutes if you want me, mate.
Yeah, fantastic. Happy days. We've got Ryan for another 10 minutes. Right, Hammer of the Year. People are telling us to talk about Hammer of the Year. Tom, Hammer of the Year so far. Who's your Hammer of the Year?
There's a few, mate, to be honest, and it's a very, very close. You've got Antonio, you've got Rinson Reid. Who else we got? I think that's really it. I think it's out of them two, myself, actually, thinking
Obiang.
about. Sorry?
Obiang,
yeah. I mean, but you can even, Ogbon hasn't been great, but the fact that Ogbon has played with injury, it goes up in estimation, you know what I mean? I think myself, I love that, you know what I mean? But no, for me, if I had to choose one, it's got to be Antonio. It's got to be Antonio. But Rinson Reid, I mean, where would we be without him? Honestly, when we made that bad patch, I think we could be rock bottom without him. He's been fantastic.
What about yourself, Ryan? Who's your hammer of the year so far?
If I had to pick them there, mine would be Winston Reid, Antonio runner-up. I think it's out of them two. I mean, Antonio was just his performances and goals, but Reid has been solid. And Tom's right, we'd probably be near the bottom now without Reid's performances. I mean, for me, he's like an old-fashioned centre-back. You know, he chucks his body in. And that's what I like about Ginge as well. I wish if Ginge was 5 years younger, he'd be one of the top defenders in the world. And I know you might think I'm talking shit when I say that, but honestly, but Winston Reid for me would be my hammer of the year so far.
You know what, Ryan? Just touching on what you just said, mate. It's not that Ginge reads the game really well, and Reid does what Ginge does. But Ginge is fantastic, and so is Winston Reid. But Winston Reid reads the game so well. I've never known anyone. He knows what's going to happen. He's there, and he doesn't do a challenge. He's just there. You know, he intercepts a ball. He's fantastic at doing it. You can understand why Arsenal was slipping around him 2 years ago.
Yeah, but
do you know what else I love about? No, go on.
I was going to say, it's just Winston Reid for me as well. I still remember, I know it was last season. It was last season. I still remember when we beat Man City away. That's the best individual performance I've seen from any West Ham player in a long time in 90 minutes. I include all the Dimitri Payet performances, even Andy Carroll's hat-trick against Arsenal. For me, that one game by Winston Reid was just phenomenal. How he managed to keep that's why he wins Hammer of the Year for me so far. He's been consistent over 90 minutes every game. Antonio can fade in and out, but when he's in, he's fantastic. But he can fade out sometimes and frustrate a little bit. But Winston Reid, he doesn't seem to make a mistake. It just seems that anything you throw at him, I think he could play for any team. I think he could play for any team in the league right now, Winston Reid. Any team.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, Gio, you know how much I love Mark Noble. But for me, Reid should get that armband next season. I'd give it to Winston Reid all day long.
If just to touch on that, what I want to throw at that, because I'm half and half. I'm a Noble fan like yourself, but if Noble started a game, I think we all agree Noble's not a guaranteed starter anymore, particularly next season. But let's just say he doesn't start, and then he starts the game. Would you keep Reid as captain, or would you give it to Noble so he's sort of the club captain? When he plays, he's captain, but when he's not playing, Reid's the captain.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think you can have a club captain and you can have a captain on the pitch. And I think for me, Winston Reid he's getting more confident all the time as a leader. I mean, you see it when we played Middlesbrough away, when Creswell made that mistake, when he knocked it onto the player at the crossbar. Reid was screaming in his face. And that's what you want from your centre-back. In the beginning of the season, when we was losing 3-0 at home to Southampton, I remember when Southampton scored their third goal, everyone had their hands on their hips, looking at the halfway line. No one was blaming, saying, why aren't you picking up? Why aren't you picking up? But now Winston Reid seems to have got that in his game. And that's what we've been missing at the back.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I mean, the only thing Noble is Andy Carroll's interview that he did today or yesterday with Jamie Redknapp. He says in it about how Mark Noble is Mr. West Ham. This is Andy Carroll. And funnily enough, there's a thread on our forum saying, who would your captain be next year who wasn't Noble? And I actually said an outside shout for me would be Andy Carroll. I think that geezer has got what it takes to be a captain as well, because you talk about Reid screaming at people, Andy Carroll screams at people, and he's just got passion in him. It's almost like if there was a fight, Andy Carroll would be the guy at the very front going, get back, I'll take him. You know, remember when we played in the pre-season when that guy took out Aaron Creswell, that nutter flew in on a 50-50 with studs up and everything, and Mark Noble just went straight for him. That's the type of stuff I love seeing. I love seeing our players do that. I hate seeing players back away and say, oh, no fighting, no fight. Nah, look at that. I like to see our players up for a scrap, all standing around each other in for a ruck and stuff. And that's why I really like Andy Carroll for that.
You know what? Sorry, Ryan. You know what? We can agree. We all agree. Noble's losing his legs a bit. But when you see instances like Payet, what he's done, and Carroll's talking about him in his interview, as you said, even if he's not going to be, if he comes to his end of his contract, maybe you can see him out. He's good to have in the dressing room. Carroll mentions it in his interview. He's bonding everyone. He's like the glue. Do you know what I mean? If you get rid of the glue, it can all fall apart. So even if he's not going to play all the time, which I think we all agree that maybe next season he will drop off a bit and you've got to keep these guys there. I mean, that one of the reasons why Tompkins was so apparently such a laugh. He's playing all jokes and things in the background. Maybe that's had an impact on our season, beginning of the season this year. But Noble, even if he's not going to play a lot, as much as he has done, you've got to keep him in the background, mate. You've got to make him to do with the club. And I think the club hopefully will do that with him.
I think if there's two people you don't have to persuade about keeping Noble in the background, it's me and Ryan. I don't think you need to persuade us about keeping Martin Noble. I've said it before. I would give Martin Noble a contract for life. I would give him a contract for life. You play until you want to play. You might not play every game. You might not play any games in the last year. You might almost just be on the training ground for sort of just training with them, motivating them in that. And then you become a coach. You become there's nothing out of them more than see Martin Noble go from coach all the way up through the ranks. If that's what he wants to do, and if he's good enough, obviously. But I'd like to see him have a job for life at West Ham anyway. We preach about loyalty. We preach about Payet's lack of loyalty. It works both ways, I think.
Right, I'm going to shoot off, guys.
No worries. Is there someone else coming on, Tom? Who's coming on now?
There is.
Tom.
I'm not too sure, mate, who's coming on now, but someone will jump in. I'll be back in an hour anyway. You want me in the hour at the end, so I'll be.
Yeah. We'll tell whoever's on to get on next, and Ryan will be ditching us soon as well. So make sure people are lined up for us. Right. Let's see if there's any more questions. Someone says, "I'm here for the Zaza debate." What Zaza debate? Do I have a Zaza debate? I don't have a Zaza debate.
He was one of them players when you wanted him to score, you was willing him to do well, but he just couldn't cut it. And the good thing is, he admitted it. When he joined Valencia, he said, "Look, it wasn't for me. I couldn't adapt to the English game," and he admitted it. So, yeah.
If Palace go down, Liam says to Ryan, or he says to anyone, if Palace go down, Ryan, would you go back for Tompkins?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want Tompkins to go anyway. I mean, like you said just a minute ago, he was someone that was in the dressing room. He was a good character. But he wanted first team football, and we couldn't guarantee him that. But I don't think deep down Tompkins wanted to go. He's West Ham through and through. So yeah, I'd take him back.
Arthurs, would you take Tompkins back?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think we could have probably avoided half the problems at right back and at centre back this year anyway if we'd have just kept hold of him. I know he wanted first team football, and we probably owe him that, after the years that he's put in for the club. So I would quite happily go back in for him, but. Whether he'd want to come back, I don't know, because obviously that lack of first team football for him.
Okay, I'm going to be Mr. Unpopular here. I'm not convinced he's good enough anymore. I've watched Palace. I only watched them 3 or 4 times this year, including when they played us at our place. When I watched him at our place, he was playing right back, and I just thought there's almost a reason you're being played right back and not centre back. And then when I watched him, I just thought, I feel like we're going up a level. I feel like we're going in one direction. Whether we're not, or with the transfers is another debate. We've just had it. But if we're trying to go in that direction, unfortunately, Tompkins is where we've got to sort of be a bit heartless and say, I was gutted he left. I'm actually the opposite of people. People were gutted he left and they're still gutted or whatever. Some people thought it was the right decision to let him go, and now they think it's the wrong one. I am the opposite. I thought it was the wrong decision, but as the season's gone on, I've actually thought it's the right decision. I feel that Fonte is a better centre-back than James Tompkins. I think that in the summer we have to go get a top right-back, and I think they'll be a better right-back than James Tompkins. But I suppose he does provide that cover that, but I wouldn't have him in the first 11, for example. I mean, Ryan, am I making a fair point here? Would you think he's good enough for a first 11 now, or do you think he'd be almost like a Martin Noble, which we were just talking about, a squad player?
Yeah, he'd definitely be a squad player. I don't think he'd be a starter. Like you said, even when Ogbonna comes back, if you look at the 4 centre-backs there, if you had Tompkins, Ogbonna, Reed, Colin and Font as well, where would Tompkins rank in them? Probably 4th or 5th. We're probably just in front of Collins. But like I said, I'm old school. I love West Ham fans playing, and Tompkins was a West Ham fan and he always give it all, but he left because he wanted first team football. He's not guaranteed that at West Ham, but no player should be guaranteed, first team football. I mean, not even Mark Noble now. As much as we love him, Czech coming back from the African nations, it's going to be tough for Noble, especially the way with Ogbonna, the way he's been playing, to drop them.
That's a good point, actually. Ryan, would you say it's almost like a big test for Bilic coming up, that he's got a winning team, a team that's just beat Middlesbrough? We've looked really good playing 4-2 or 4-4-2. Let's just call it 4-4-2. We've looked good playing that. You've got Czech coming back. How do you get him into that team? Do you just have to have a little bit of balls and say, sorry, Nobes, you're out the winning team, Czech's going in, or do you put Czech on the bench? You know, is this a big test for Bilic? How do you fit all these players in and keep them happy?
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough to get him back in, especially you can't really change a winning team. But for me, Czech is a better player than Noble. We all know that. And I'd like to see Obiang and Czech play together just to see what them two can actually do. Because like I said, with Obiang, he's impressed me so much over the last few games. And like he reminds me, like I said, like a young Yaya Toure, just how calm he is on the ball. And we haven't really had no one like that. I mean, Alex Song was sort of like that, but we had Alex Song at the end of his career. Obiang's career is just beginning.
What about yourself, Tom? Do you think this is Bilic's a sort of a different big test? He's obviously come over the out of form big test. Is it now a keep your players happy big test? Because at the first half of the season, we almost had injuries all over the pitch. At some point, someone was injured, so the team picked itself. But now I think I think in Bilic's press conference today, he said the only injury we've got is Nordveit. So he's now got a lot of players to choose from.
Yeah, he does, and he's got no competitions left to move the squad about with. So probably whatever is his winning squad, he's going to have to stick with. And he's got some big decisions to make. Maybe Kiati will get a couple of games rest because of the African Cup of Nations, because I know they're still in the tournament, I think. So yeah, massive test for him. But who does he drop, kind of thing? Because I think Ryan made a fantastic comment. I'd never really thought of Obiang like a mini Yaya Toure, like a young Yaya Toure. He is exactly like that. He's very composed. He's very big. Very commanding in that centre midfield. He wins most of his tackles. He's a fantastic player for us this season. I think really you have to start looking to alternatives to Noble. As much as he's a bleeds claret and blue and we all love him for life, he's not getting any younger, and there are players that are pushing him for that position. So he's got to start looking at alternatives. And I think that Fonte and Reed I hope that they'll be a fantastic partnership, and I can see us going to 4-4-2 at the back. So one of them has to make way. And for me, it might just be Noble's time to step back.
Obiang actually reminds me of Claude Makelele for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just because he just sits in front of the back four. He doesn't move, and his interceptions stats are ridiculous. His interception, every time, I'm a bit of a geek for stats. I like to have a look at the stats after the game. Passing, succession, interception, all that crap. And Reed's always at the top for headers and tackles, etc. But interceptions, Obiang's always a mile ahead. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We could play Arsenal with Cockle in the midfield, and Obiang will be top. And I just think this guy's reading of the game is incredible. That stat came out the other day. He's got the best passing, best tackling in the league at 91%. That's just ridiculous for a centre midfielder, where you're going to have to commit professional fouls. You're going to get counter-attacked, and you're going to have to commit fouls. So some of those fouls he's done, I can't name one off the top of my head, but you can picture Obiang doing them, where players just bomb down the wing and Obiang just goes out, takes him out of the game almost to break up the attack. He does that. So he's got those tackles in there, taking his stats down. So 91%. I mean, Ryan, have you ever heard anything like it? A West Ham player with 91% tackling succession. It's ridiculous.
Nah, that's what I mean, and that's why I've been so impressed with him over the last few games. It's like I said, since Payet's gone, these players seem to have they're coming out of their shadows. You know what I mean? And like Lanzini as well. But with Obiang, I think if we can keep him for 2 seasons, because I think there'll be a lot of interest in him in the summer. A lot of interest in him. I could see one of the top teams looking at him, because he is, like I said, he's so composed on the ball, and he doesn't do anything silly. He don't try the 50, 60-yard passes. He does the simple balls, and that's all you want from your centre mid. And going back to Mark Noble, I think Mark Noble would be the first player to hold his hands up and say, "Look, someone better than me, play him."
Well, to be fair, Mark Noble actually was the one that came out after the Arsenal game and said we were all crap out there. None of us were trying good enough out there. Mark Noble threw himself and the whole team under the bus that day before Bilic went into the press conference. Mark Noble just said none of us are trying in training. Training's not good enough. The effort on the pitch isn't good enough. He did that, Mark Noble. So it was good that he did that. But What I will say about you saying a big club coming for Obiang, I think Man U could come in for him. I think Man U need a centre midfielder to sort of get the best out of Pogba. They need an Obiang to get in behind Pogba and just let Pogba go forward and leave him. They've got Herrera, but I don't think they've got a partner for Herrera right now.
They've got a Carrick, but I think he's getting on a bit, so he could be
yes, I do worry that actually Obiang is almost perfect. And then you raise a big question, how much is he? Kante was what, 35 million? Is he as good as Kante?
Well, let's tie him down to a big 5-year contract now.
Yeah. Well, before you go, Ryan, you've got your big day or whatever it is you're off to do. But before you go, and thank you for coming on. Last question. Let's say 2. No. Say 5. You've got 5 names for the first 11. Who's your first 5 names you put down on the first 11 from now on?
First, 5 guaranteed starters?
Yeah.
You mean? I'll go, Randolph in goal. I'll just go straight through them sort of middle. I'll have Randolph, Reed, Obiang, Lanzini, Carroll.
No Antonio?
Yeah, you said 5. I'll have him as well.
Okay. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Hello, it was a lovely mate.
But take care, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye, mate. Bye.
Tom. We were talking earlier that the fixtures have ruined the transfer window deadline. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's why today's been so crap?
I was thinking about it actually before you said it. I'd completely almost forgot that that the games are going on this evening. I think it's definitely ruined it tonight, because how can you, like you said, how can you have discussions with players when they're playing in the games? I think it's completely ruined it. The whole point of deadline day, is usually a Saturday or a Sunday night, and or whatever, and you're sat in front of the TV and nothing else is on. It's all Jim White, and it's ruined it this evening for me. Really, having these games, I've not even paid attention to the games this evening, but it is probably more than likely is ruined deadline day. I can see the Championship clubs are doing quite a bit of business, but they haven't got any games to play, so you can kind of understand why. So
some of them have got games, because I've got them in my coupon. I don't know my coupons. One I had Reading, Nottingham Forest, Plymouth, and Sheffield Wednesday, I think. It was my fourfold one. Someone find out. It was my fourfold one. Forest, Reading, Plymouth, and Sheffield Wednesday. Someone tell me. I've been trying to keep an eye, but it's not been working. I don't know if I won money or I lost money. I want to know. Actually, no, it's all right. I've just seen Yeovil beat Plymouth 2-1.
Crap.
That's just right. You two chat. I'm going to be honest. I need a piss. I need another beer. I'm ready to go for a piss and get another beer. You two chat.
Right, I'll tell you what. I'll go through the live chat, Anthony. Me and you can discuss this while he goes to the toilet.
Yeah, so go chat. I'll be back in 5.
Right, blimey. Right, okay. I haven't held a show since the end of last year. When was the last time I did it? I think it was last game of the season for Man United. Right, stick your questions in the chat, and I will read some of them off to you, mate. What we got here?
What's your 5 starting, Tom?
My 5 starting. Antonio, Carroll, Obiang, Lanzini, and Reed. At the minute. What about you? What about yourself?
Very similar, probably Reed, Lanzini, Obiang. It's really tough. Antonio, Carroll. Yeah, I think that's quite similar to you.
Yeah, but would you say Carroll, or would Fonte be on that list now? Or
well, we have to give Fonte a bit of time to play and see what he's like. I mean, he is Premier League proven player. I'm quite excited about him. I think he's got definitely a few years in him, but we have to see how he settles in with the current squad and the partnership of Reed. But he's strong. He's a strong centre half and got a good aerial threat. And all I can do is think that that's going to help.
Yeah,
Reed's
I
game.
think that I've seen someone in the chat. Obviously, I know Gio's been taking over for most of this evening. He hasn't had a chance to see the chat, but I've seen one guy who's been commented all evening saying Giovinco. So there you go, Gio. Let me ask you, my friend. Would you take Giovinco at West Ham?
Don't know enough about him. Pass, Anthony.
Being honest with you, I'm also the same. Pass, Tom.
Oh, for pity's sake! But this you can't throw it back on me. I don't know. We should probably be asking John. I can see bracing the hammer. I can see him in the chat there. We should ask what he's like over in the American League. But I've just seen some guys been commenting all evening saying, "Will we take Giovinco?" But I don't know how good he is. I was hoping that you two maybe knew something a bit about him.
I have an issue. One of you two are going to have to be my eyes for Sky. I had Sky Sports News on, but it's just popped up on my TV. I've got 2 things recording, so my TV's already to switch. I can't watch Sky Sports News anymore. My eyes on Sky Sports News is gone.
I think we're the best deadline day show about.
Right, I want to talk about one player. I want to talk about Robert Snodgrass, my countryman. And it's not. I don't want to talk about is he good enough or whatever. But Anthony, where is he going to play?
I have no idea.
Well, you're just useless. You come on here and go.
I know. But the thing is, the midfield is starting to get jam packed, and he can play in behind the strikers, or he can play left or right. I mean, who are they going to drop in the team to be able to fit him in?
Sorry, Anthony, go on.
No, it's fine. I reckon initially I thought maybe he was going to get a start tomorrow, but I don't think he will. I don't think Bilic is going to change his team, apart from obviously Fonte coming in. But I think that he may come on as a potential impact sub, and he's going to be up for it. He is going to be up for it. So if he comes in and hits the ground running, then it depends on what Bilic has an idea for him. Is he going to play him in behind the strikers? I don't know. With all these players coming back, you've got Ayew coming back. You're going to have Snodgrass in the team, Obiang, Kouyaté to fit in with the current midfielders. It's a tough decision.
Tom, are you confident he's going to have an influence? Where is he going to play? What's he going to do?
Big time. I really, really like him. I know me and you were sort of two of us that were really happy that we signed him. I said to you, I think, or even on the forum, I said that I'm excited because I think he's a better dead ball specialist than Payet is. And I don't just mean from free kicks. We can obviously see the level of free kick he can take. But from free kicks and from corners, my God, does he get some real whip and pace on the ball. And I just think if he's got Carroll there for him for that, my God, those two can do some damage on the next level. Where he plays, I don't know. I've not seen enough of him at Hull this season. I've seen obviously highlights from Match of the Day. I know he can play maybe in behind the striker and I think over on the left. I'm not too sure. But I just think the one thing that excites me more than most about Snodgrass is his delivery and how good that it can actually be.
Is that got to be our game plan, Tom, when he's on the pitch?
I think so, yeah, massively,
Just get it in the box.
Well, we've seen it this season, but the level of crossing has been poor. From set pieces, from corners, from open play, the level of crossing has been poor. I mean, even blooming Antonio, when Carroll scored the overhead kick the other day, even said, well, I was hoping to aim for him, and it was almost a bad ball for Carroll. We've not really seen that delivery that maybe we saw last year that Carroll thrived off of towards the end of the season. So, no, I think it has to be the game plan. And if that means maybe Lanzini going back through the middle or playing out left, wide, I'm not sure, with Faguli or Antonio on the other side. But I think obviously what we were talking about with Ryan, it will be interesting to see what starting 11 and which formation Bilic decides to go with and to try and fit them all into this system now.
Do you know what, Tom, that in this time next year, literally 12 months' time, we're going to be sitting here saying we need to replace Snodgrass in the summer. He's getting old.
Oh, don't. Just let me have a few months to breathe first before I have to think about that. But
that's my worry. That's my worry.
It's correct, though. It's true, though. It is true. You could be sat here in another 12 months' time saying the exact same thing. But I hope it's not. I hope that he can perform at that level for quite a while. I know he has injury concerns, obviously, as well. But hey, let's hope. Let's hope that he's still here in 12 months.
He can be a bit lazy sometimes. That is a concern. He is generally hardworking, but sometimes I've seen him literally stand still when he should be defending. And I'm not. I know we all go on Payet for it, but what I'm saying is, go watch Everton. Everton scored their second goal against Hull literally 2 or 3 weeks ago. Go watch it. Snodgrass literally stands still and lets his man run on. He doesn't even move. And it's just, if you do that at West Ham, the fans will. I mean, we criticised Dimitri Payet. We criticised 17th place in the Ballon d'Or award. We criticised him for not tracking back. Robert Snodgrass is not going to have any more leeway than Dimitri Payet. He's going to have less because he ain't going to be doing. Well, he is going to do step overs, but he ain't going to be pivoting Coutinho to get him sent off. He's not going to bend in. Well, he might actually. To be everything I'm saying now, he's not going to do. Payet does. Snodgrass can do it to an extent as well. And that's bending a 35-yard free kick. But Anthony, do you not think that it's is it a short-term fix, Snodgrass? Is it sort of just get him in so we can get Payet out?
Yeah, I reckon it's probably like what you said, Joe, before, an 18-month plan for the future. But if you remember back to the game that he did play against West Ham, he was one of the standout players for Hull. And if he gives, sorry
to interrupt, but Hull built their team around Robert Snodgrass.
Yeah, they did.
Robert Snodgrass in, and then fit everyone around him to get the best out of him. We ain't going to be doing that, West Ham.
We're not, but his work rate in that game, he was all over the park. He was up and down. He was whipping balls in. He was creating chances. Yeah, I get your point about they created a team around him, but if he gives, 50% more than what Payet's given this year for a little bit of a cheaper player who's assisting goals and scoring goals, 3 of them have been from penalties, but he's still scoring goals out with that. So it's a chance that I think it's definitely worth taking. It's just who does he fit in the team for and where.
Well, he also gets a couple of penalties every season as well. He does love a bloody dive, that's for sure. And that's something he needs to get out of his game if he's coming to my club, I'm afraid. But I know I'm coming across as negative. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because I'm very on the fence on this one. I can see both sides of the coin. I'm slightly more pro than Colin, but I'm just a bit concerned. I'm a bit concerned by it. Now, there's some people in the live chat asking us to talk about goalkeepers. Is Randolph good enough for your number one, Anthony?
Before we get on to that, I'm going to jump out because I know Charlie, so we can keep on schedule. I'm going to jump out so Charlie can get back in. So I'll see you later on.
See you in a bit. Yes, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm Team Randolph. Is he good enough to be our long-term keeper when you've got a keeper in the market such as Joe Hart? Then no, I am. We need to go all out and get Joe Hart in. He's fine for now. He's going to be a great second keeper in my opinion. I do like him, but if we do get the opportunity to pull out Joe Hart, then we need to take that opportunity.
So have you written off Adrian?
Yeah,
you said that you're going to get Hart in, Randolph number 2. So where's Adrian? Have you written?
I think he's probably written it off himself. To be honest, I think it's time for the team's progressing as we go along, and we went on this debate for so long about Team Randolph, Team Adrian. I'm surprised he hasn't gone in this window, to be honest. But obviously, we have to have someone there as the backup plan. But yeah, I think they've made the decision. They gave Randolph the 4-year contract. They've made the decision. I think that it's time for Adrian to go, and I think in the summer he'll be gone.
I am one of the only people that is not a big Joe Hart fan. I just don't get it. I genuinely don't get why. I don't get why the big love in for Joe Hart. I mean, it's just, is he better than Randolph? Well, maybe, but I don't think he's 10, 15 million pound better than Randolph. I think he's error prone. I think he's, is he's Adrian error prone? Yeah, I do. But I think Man City were correct to replace Joe Hart, but the problem is they replaced him with a rubbish keeper. They didn't get a good enough keeper in. If they went and got a top keeper, I think everyone would have been praising the decision, but we'll see. But I mean, there was rumours today that Everton wanted Adrian, and earlier in the day, David Sullivan was on TalkSport, and David Sullivan said we had bids for players of ours which we had no interest in selling because you can't get anyone else in. So I wonder if maybe there was a bid for Adrian and we've knocked it back, and but his contract's up in the summer. But what we do have is we've got a 2-year clause which we can activate at any time. But it can't be good being a player though, Anthony, that you're sitting there, contract's up in the summer, and the club have got power over you, so you don't know if you're going or staying.
It's probably not good for his confidence, but I know you aren't a big fan of Joe Hart, but you look at maybe the defence he had in front of him when he was there in the championship winning team. They were capable of making a calamity, and he did make absolutely fantastic saves during those couple of seasons that they were winning some stuff. So
Randall's made fantastic saves.
He has, but he's not doing it in a championship winning team. And I think the experience that he could bring of playing European football in big stadiums could only but benefit our squad. And he is okay, Randolph does shout and Adrian did, but Joe Hart's just he's an internationalist. He's yeah, okay. Randolph is. You've got the argument, but he's a lot longer. He's been playing for England a lot longer. He's now applied his trade abroad, and I just think it's a no-brainer for me to bring someone in with that experience.
I just think there's better keepers available. Begovic for one, and Pickford is younger and he's going to be better than Joe Hart. I think. I just think I'm not convinced, but I think is he better than Randolph? We'll wait and see. But I think I'm alone. I realise I'm really on my own in that one. I do realise I'm in the minority here. Now Scott's just joined us. Scott, what's your thoughts on the transfer window? How are you feeling? There's only an hour to go. We're going to sign nobody on transfer deadline day. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was just smiling at the irony of two Scots discussing good goalkeepers.
Oi, we've had some good goalkeepers up here. Thank you very much. But to be fair, one of them, Craig Gordon, is who Chelsea are after. So, you know.
Was that true?
I think so. I think so. Because they need someone to replace Begovic. They don't need a first choice keeper. They need someone half decent. But Scott, what's your feelings for the transfer window in general? Are you disappointed that we've only brought in 2 players and we've not got a striker?
Yeah, originally it was just one of those situations where we've been promised again and it hasn't been delivered. If I had faith in the board to spend the money in the summer, I'm happy. I think to myself, 10 points, we're safe. We're going to finish mid-table. It is what it is this season. And fingers crossed. I mean, they can't get away with it for another season where they're not going to put their hand in it. I'm totally behind. I was listening to Tom before. Totally behind it. The amount of money that we must have, we've got to have it. It's got to be there somewhere. I used that scenario with you once, where, you're living at home with your mum. You just minted, absolutely minted, because you're not paying any rent. We don't pay any bloody rent where we are. Where's it gone? I haven't got a clue. Glad we're not going to write back. You was mentioning Byron before. Like him a lot. I don't think we need a right back.
Do you think we'll need a right back in the summer though, Scott, or is it a case of let's give Byron 4 months and see if he can hit it or not?
I think he does okay. Watched him I was up really close to him at Middlesbrough. I'd like somebody to. Obviously, we need backup. So bring somebody in for backup, but I think he'll do a really good job for us.
By the way, totally off topic. You're creeping me out a little bit. You really look like Saul Beddington from Homeland. If anyone watches Homeland on Channel 4, you look so much like that guy called Saul on it. It's ridiculous. I'm starting to think you're CIA or something standing across from me. But I'm going to throw a curveball here. I'm going to change the topic like that. We're talking about youth players now. Let's talk about some. Scott, what's your opinion on Josh Cullen? He's out on loan at Bradford. He is tearing it up at Bradford, absolutely tearing it up. The reviews for him are, if you thought Burks was good last year, this guy's getting better reviews at Bradford. I seen a footage the other day of the Bradford fans, the whole away end, absolutely bouncing, singing Josh Cullen's song for them and stuff. It's just... So what do we do with Josh Cullen in the summer, Scott? Do we loan him out again, maybe to a better team, or do we try and... Is he Noble's long-term replacement, or is that too ambitious? What do we do with Josh?
I think he's too ambitious at the moment. Have you ever visited Bradford? His incentive is to play well so that somebody else comes in for him. I think, he needs to go out to a better side. He needs to... Leeds would be a fantastic... It's only up the road. Go out to a better side and learn his craft again before he comes back to us.
So you would give him another year in Championship before seeing if he can do it at West Ham?
Definitely, yeah. Where do I live? I live like 20 miles away from Bradford, and he gets reviews, great reviews. He's a class player. He is a class player, but I think if you throw him in too early, you'll spoil him.
Anthony?
Yeah, I do agree. I'm also a little bit concerned about, we're talking about all these transfers we want to sign, and then we've got the youth players that are kicking about, that are performing left, right and centre. And when are they going to get their chances? I like the idea of them going out on loan, but sometimes you're a bit like, what happened to the days we used to give someone that opportunity and just see what happens? A little bit like what happened with Manchester United and Rashford. Josh Cullen, Marcus Brown, Tony Martinez, there's players there that I feel that should have had maybe more of a chance this year when maybe things weren't going that well. Josh Cullen, he is tearing it up at Bradford, but I don't want to. He is small as well. Like I mean, maybe they're worried about him getting eaten up by the Yaya Tories of the world, and I mean, I don't want to say that's the excuse. There has been great small players, but what do you think of that?
Yeah, but Lanzini's small. I don't buy into this small thing. If you can play football properly, you don't need to worry about physique. If you know how to protect the ball using your feet and your body, don't worry if someone's going to come barge you with a shoulder, because you'll know how to sort of shrug it off by stance. You'll know how to get a barge into the shoulder, and you'll know, unfortunately, you'll know how to go down and get a free kick for it, even though it was probably illegal shoulder to shoulder. You'll know how to do all this stuff. And I think there's two players I want to see at West Ham next year, and I want to see them on the bench as much as possible. I want to see them almost being, there's a cup game they play sort of thing. And that one's Cullen, the other one's Reece Burke. Scott Reece Burke, he's doing all right at Wigan. I think he's doing quite well, actually. He had an injury, but I think he came back and he's doing well again. But do you think Burke's getting to the age now where we've really got to decide on him? Is he going to make it or is he not? Because it's almost on. You know, you said that you want Cullen in the Championship. Well, Burke's in the Championship this year. So what are we doing with Burke then?
Yeah, he's with Wigan, isn't he? They're not doing absolutely fantastic, are they? Again, it's a difficult one. I don't think he's good enough for us.
You what?
I don't think he's good enough for us. I don't think he'll get in our side and hold the side down.
Why not?
Have you watched him play? You're going to get me on a Mark Noble rant here, aren't you? And everyone's going to be against me. You pull me in, you Gio. You're terrible. I watched him. I watched him for Wigan, and like I said, Wigan aren't tearing it up. I don't see him in our squad. You talk about bringing people in that are better than what we've got, and is he better than what we've got? No, he isn't.
No, but he's youth though. I think that's different. You know, I wouldn't expect us to go get a 20-year-old and be better than what we've got, but I'd expect the 20-year-old to have potential, and I think Reece Burke's got potential to be better than what we've got.
Well, time will tell. Time will tell. I don't think he's actually standing out that much in that poor Wigan side.
So what would you do in the summer then? Would you loan him out again just to be sure that he's not good enough, or would you sell him?
Sorry, say that again, Gio.
What would you do in the summer with Reece Burke then? Would you sell him, or would you loan him out another year so you can just make double sure that he's not good enough?
Yeah, it's what you do with him, isn't it? I don't know. You lend him out, then yeah, he might come good. He might come good. You've not got rid of him for no reason. Me personally, if I was manager, I'd release him to flourish elsewhere. I just
see when. I think again the biggest thing for me is a lot of the youth players. Like we don't really, he plays at Wigan and he's doing okay, but how do we know he's not going to be at that standard in our team? Learning his trade with the players, training with the players, getting a chance in the odd game. It's the same with all those players. Like it does concern me slightly the fact that I like the fact they're all going out on loan, but I just want to see a little bit of them coming into the team, a little bit of the youth coming through. I mean, the only one that's sitting in there just now is Noble, and it is a bit frustrating. But the talent in the youth side is decent, really good, and great reports. So give them a shot. Like why not? What we've got to lose? We're going to send them out to the trade to learn a trade in the Championship, but they could be learning a trade in the Premier League and learning it the hard way.
Well, next season I'd rather have on the bench. I'd rather have a Reece Burke than a James Collins. Maybe unpopular, but I do not want to see Reece Burke leave under any circumstances, you know, not until he's had a shot at least. But I was convinced like 2 years ago he was good enough. When Allardyce was here, he played at Reece Burke. I remember us playing QPR. I still remember this because we played QPR away and we had Reece Burke centre-back. And I thought, oh, God, what are you doing? He was up against Charlie Austin, who was in form. QPR were fighting for their lives at the bottom. I thought, oh, no. Reece was fantastic. I thought this guy is quality. And he played a couple of games in a row, and I thought this guy's got it. And then he just disappeared. He went out on loan. I thought, well, that's a bit disappointing then, isn't it? But I would certainly keep Reece. But let's speak about the other Reece. Someone that did actually do something on transfer deadline day, Reece Oxford. Scott, what do you think about this guy then, Reece Oxford? Has he got what it takes?
I think he has. I said that from the beginning. I said that from watching him when he tore the ground up at Arsenal. I love him. There's times when Colin's been playing, and I think Oxford should have been in there.
Is this a good move for him going to Reading?
Sorry, G, I'll say again.
Oxford, he's gone to Reading on loan for the rest of the season. Is that a good move?
Yeah, it was a better move than the Rangers one, wasn't it? Yeah, definitely. Reading's doing really, really well. I think he'll learn a lot up there. Give him till the end of the season, and then, like I said, introduce him back in. I like him. He's mature beyond his years, and I like that about him.
So wait, you would play Reece Oxford for West Ham next season?
I would play Reece Oxford for West Ham next season.
But you wouldn't play Reece Burke? No, all right. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, though?
I see him. You know, I love reading that, but I see him really, really pushing. I would invest in Reece Oxford in our side. I would even have a doubt of investing in him in the squad.
Yeah, I'm not convinced I would put him in the first team that quick. As much as I hope the thing with Oxford is he's only 18. He can have a couple of years out on loan and still come back only 20 years old. And I think the Reading loan is perfect. And it's not just the team he's away play for. They play for they play good football. They're in the right side of the league. But it's their manager. They've got Jaap Stam, one of the best all-time Premier League centre-backs as your coach. Could you ask for anything more as a youngster, Anthony?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks, like, okay, if he's not going to be in and around the first team just yet, then it's the best move out of all the options he's had. I mean, you're going to learn off the best. He's won he's won the Champions League, has he not? Jaap Stam. He's won everything. He's just going to give him so much confidence. For selfish reasons, it's going to benefit Reece Oxford dramatically just to learn off of a guy like that. But on the flip side, I am slightly disappointed that he's had to go out because we were 16 when he made his debut against Arsenal, and he did play really, really, really well. Never really featured much throughout the year, but I just thought he'd be kind of taking that place of Collins as the third player that's in and around the squad coming on. And I'm delighted with the Fonte signing, but there's nothing to say that Reece couldn't have potentially slipped in there if he had more game time this year.
Oh, come on. Are you telling me you'd have let the 18-year-old be as one half of our centre-back pairings for the rest of the season?
100% I am saying that. Because I don't get why the modern day game, it's not the modern day game, it's some teams, but particularly it's not West Ham anymore. We don't really give the youth a chance. I'm not saying he would have came in. He has to be gradually brought into the team. But if he'd have gradually brought into the team and he'd done well, then yeah, he would have stayed there.
But what happens if he didn't do well?
Go out on loan.
But if he doesn't do well, Ogbonna's away for season-ending surgery, and you're putting Reece Oxford in, he's not doing well, then what? We're screwed for the next 4 months.
No. I'm talking like earlier in the season. If it was a case of Reece Oxford coming in, then we'd have the backup plan of Fonte. That's fine. I just feel like he could have been used a little bit more than what he has been. Yeah, okay, I know there was maybe this contract negotiations, maybe that had an effect on it. But I'm not talking about now, I'm talking about earlier. The fact he's not been featuring this season, yeah, okay, it's a great decision. I'm just a bit disappointed he's not featured more.
Well, one Oxford to the other Oxford, but it's from player to club. Anthony Martinez off to Oxford, scored at the weekend on his debut, came on against Newcastle. Bloody good header.
Absolutely. Again, another player there's a lot of people saying...
Oh, let me guess. Injury to Carlo, don't worry about it. Just put Martinez up front for the rest of the season.
Well, do you know what? Why not? We're West Ham. We don't have any other backup plans, do we? We're not signing any strikers tonight. There's a player on form playing in our development team, but I mean, you've seen his goals, you've seen what he's doing for his assists in the team. He's playing in a reasonable standard development league where there's players from the Premier League playing in it, and he's attacking that ball. He attacks that ball like a very, very, very good old school centre half.
Scott.
What?
Same question. Martinez, Oxford, what's your thoughts?
I think Martinez is a very, very gifted individual. But again, I want to agree with you. I want to say, actually, yeah, we should be bringing more in. And I think once we get a little bit safe towards the end of the season, give some of these players a bit of game time. I think you probably get eaten up by a lot of the defences in the Premiership at the moment. It might knock his confidence, but then again, he could do a Rashford, go out there and just tear it up. You never know with them, do you? You never know, but he's a gifted individual.
Yeah, that's why I'm disappointed with the Marcus Brown loan, actually, because you said about giving players a chance. It's him that I wanted to see given a chance most. The reason I'm not so, it's not that I'm not keen on Martinez. The reason I'm skeptical on Martinez is because I know someone that goes to our home games for the under-23s. He goes to the under-23s games at home. So he sees Martinez for 90 minutes, essentially. And he tells me that Martinez misses, while he scores, he misses a lot of chances. And he said the last game, or time before he played, he scored one. He said, but he had 2 one-on-ones. One of them he missed, but the other one, he was just cocky. He tried, there was a huge gap. And instead of just putting the ball in there, he tried to chip the keeper, and the keeper just stood still and caught it. And everyone was like, oh. And he's saying that's why he thinks Bilic hasn't gave Martinez a chance yet, because he's wasting a lot of chances, and he needs to learn. He sort of needs to get a bit of discipline about him and saying, in the Premier League, you're 1-on-1, you do not chip the keeper. You put the ball in the corner, you can put the ball in the net. You do not try that fancy chip. Now, as much as we all love Lanzini's fancy chip against Palace, we were 2-0 up in the last minute when he tried it. Then the following week against Middlesbrough, he was 1-on-1. He didn't really know what to do, Lanzini. He bottled it. He bottled his 1-on-1. And I think that's why he's gone out on loan. I actually back the Martinez loan, while a lot of people don't. I think he needs to go to League One. I think he needs to feel a centre-back's elbow in the back of his neck when he's going up for a header. I think he needs to go in for a sort of a 60-40 in his favour, but the defender goes in for it anyway and takes him out completely. I think he needs to get bruised. I think he needs to get bashed up a little bit. I think, I keep saying it's not just about experience. It's about mentally toughening someone up a little bit. I think it's about mentality as well. Because while the Premier League 2, I'm not convinced it is a good league, because they're trying to avoid injury, because they're trying to get into the first team. They don't want to be injured. When was the last time we heard of our Premier League 2 player getting a season-ending injury? When was the last time Quina, Brown, Martinez, Oxford, whoever? When was the last time we heard about one of them getting an injury and they're out for the season? They just don't get them because the challenges aren't going in, because they're too scared to get challenged. Both teams are active. They're almost too scared because they don't want to get injured and miss their chance. So it's played at an 80% tempo.
Part of me gets your point about saying that, okay, he's had 3 or 4 chances, but the point is he's in the right place at the right time, and that's something I do think we miss. Maybe not recently, but if he is in our team and he's in the right place at the right time and he's taking 1 chance per game and he's scoring.
But at that level, he does have, or he had, Brown, Samuelson, Quina behind him. He did have really good talent behind him, supplying him as well. And Ashley Fletcher played a lot at that level as well. So there is swings and roundabouts. Now we've got that young guy, Nathan Holland, down there. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, taking Martinez's chance, essentially. But we've only got half an hour left. We've been on here for 2.5 hours. It's ridiculous. But you guys are watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. I'll tell you what, actually. It's a bit of a secret. It's not a secret, but when we get 5,000 subscribers, hallelujah, one day, we're releasing a new series. We've got a new series. It's planned, it's lined up, the wheels are in motion, blah, blah, blah. Because it's a nice series. It's a series we've been wanting to do for a while. We're keeping it until we hit 5,000 subscribers. So get your subscribers in. We'll give you a new series, a completely different thing to what we've done. We've not done it before, so hit the subscribe. But Anthony, you have to bugger off soon. Before you bugger off, Anthony, sum up the transfer window for us.
Very average. We've just replaced a couple of players with maybe Snodgrass, a bog standard replacement, and Fonte I'm excited about, but just bang average. Disappointed we've not signed a striker. I'm not bothered about the right back either, but yeah, average stroke disappointing. Okay,
Anthony says average stroke disappointing. You in the live chat, let us know. Scott, what about yourself? What do you think? Anthony, go bugger off and get someone else on. But Anthony, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Guys,
Scott,
make sure you subscribe to the Facebook channel. Give it a like. Take it easy.
Yeah, there you go. Anthony does run our Facebook, so facebook.com/Hammers Chat. Give it a like. Go have a chat with them over there. Scott, what do you think about the transfer window overall? Then, are you disappointed at Hammer? I mean,
I am. I'm going to. Oh God, I'm going to come across as really negative. I don't like this transfer window. I think it shouldn't happen. We're very lucky. Fair enough. One player wanted to bugger off because I won't mention his name. I can't mention his name. One player wanted to bugger off because he didn't want to play for us. But we're really lucky that other clubs haven't come in for our players because it really unsettles the squad. And I don't think this transfer window should happen. I think you should do your business in summer, and that's you for the season, then done and dusted. But you know, judging it against past transfer windows, it's been poor, hasn't it? It's been quite quiet.
well, actually, if you judge it against past windows, for West Ham, I don't think it's been poor. I think it's been quite standard for a January transfer window. I actually think it's been quite good for a January transfer window under these owners. We've got in 2 Premier League players. I think we've got one of the top 10 centre-backs in the league over the last 2 seasons or something. So I think it's been quite good, actually, for West Ham bringing players in. But it just got that sense of disappointment. But I think, Scott, are you worried, Scott, before you ditch us as well, because I think Tom Down's probably lining up his beers and stuff. But Scott, are you worried that we're relying on Andy Carroll? Are you going to panic every time that he goes up for a 50-50, etc.? Because we are literally one injury away from having to play Ashley Fletcher or Kaleri as our first striker, unless he plays IU, obviously.
And it's coming. You know, I took some family to the Middlesbrough game, and they couldn't work out if he was a central defender or a striker because he was all over the place. And if he plays like that, he is going to get injured. Saving grace is, what are we? We're 8 to 10 points off safety, and I think with the squad that we've got, we'll see that through. But the injury is coming. You can tell with Carroll.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Well, we'll let you bugger off. But thank you for joining us. You'll be on in videos in the future anyway. But who's on next? We've got Piss Tom. Oh, jeez, he's coming back on. He's probably had 2 beers since then. Oh, this is not good. Charlie, it's been a while. What are you saying, Charlie?
Yeah, Drunk Tom was in the chat talking about how much he's had to turn on the subtitles because he couldn't understand you and Anthony. So he's clearly had even more since last time. Yeah, just looking at Twitter and seeing all the things that aren't happening. Apart from it says a lot that the biggest story for us today has been Reece Oxford going out and that Everton wanted Adrian at some point. Well, what a deadline we've had. It's so exciting.
Yeah, but what about yourself, Charlie? Sum up the transfer window. We're doing summing up now. Where's your summing up of the transfer window?
I'm happy with the people we brought in. Like you said, I really do rate Fonte very highly. I think he is like when Man City got their first amount of money, when they got their big injection of cash, and they were just going around buying really, really players, he would be one of those people. He was in that style, so I'm really happy with him. And I'm happy with Robert Snodgrass. I like him as a player, but we're still they're not signings that are gonna will improve our first team, but Robert Snodgrass won't. I think he's a bench player, which isn't a bad thing, but I just think he is, and we're still looking for something to take us to the next level. Really, it's the summer a make or break for you, Charlie? Because you're quite this summer, with the greatest of respect. I mean this with the greatest respect. You haven't been quite as critical as the board as perhaps I have. So for yourself, would you sort of come on over to my side a little bit if the board buggered up the summer? I think last season was the make or break one. I think that was a huge go and really put us down the league. I think last summer was the one where if we were going to do something, it was going to be then. We had to have we had the opportunity, we had the money, everything was in line for last summer for it to be massive for us, and they completely fluffed their lines and backed off massively. I think this summer, I agree with what you were sort of saying during the show about. I think we've got the squad bulk now. We have the amount of players we need. We could argue we need another right back, obviously, but like we have that now. Now it's about upgrading what we have and really starting to push forward. And I honestly don't believe that our owners are ever gonna invest that money. But yeah, and just the one thing actually that I've just come into my head. You spoke about Spurs and possibly taking their transfer policy and using that. I think the team that has taken that is Southampton, and it is working wonders for them. And they're going to keep going up and up and up.
You can maybe say that Spurs took Southampton's transfer policy. I suppose they both kind of incorporated it at the same time, roughly. I mean, Southampton. You're right, though. Southampton are the other team that hasn't signed a 29-year-old or over in the last 5 years, so they've also got something. And it's just a case of let's just not sign old players who we're running around. Signing Fonte, signing Snodgrass, and discussing for your main Defoe. Old. I mean, it's just walking stick territory, West Ham right now. Now, Tom's back, ladies and gentlemen. Tom, what beers are you on now? 10? Are you on double figures yet?
No, number 8, mate. I'm taking it easy tonight. I'm only on number 8.
What are you thinking, Tom? You've been listening. You've been in the chat. What are you thinking? What are you saying?
I heard you mention like the window and things. Yeah, it's been lacklustre, isn't it? It's been poor. But as we've mentioned before, mate, it's all for reasons. I think we're not looking at. We've got to look at the bigger picture. You know, we're safe in theory. Well, you're saying that tonight. The results. We mentioned it before. The results tonight have been absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's not gone in our favour, if you like, the results, and it does warn you a little bit. It's not just that though. I also think we're playing Man City. And after that, we play 3 teams we should be beating on paper, or we need to be beating, which is West Brom, Southampton, and Watford. And if we were to sort of struggle, I think the fans would get very agitated very quickly. Charlie, do you think that's a worry for maybe as a West Ham fan going forward, that our fuses right now are quite short a little bit, and it's not going to take a lot? We lose 2 or 3 games, the fans are actually going to turn around and go, that that transfer window in January was your chance. You get players in, you bought getting a striker in or whatever, and now look at us, we're struggling a little bit.
I think their PR trump card was Payet. There was, right before that happened, it was really a huge problem for the board, for Bilic. It was really getting to a point where people were ready to pulling for their heads. And they moved on from Bilic to the board and said, the board needs to go, we need the board out. And they played their trump card, which was Payet's been messing up, Payet wants to go, see you later, Payet. And everyone was like, okay, we're behind the team are together again. And that was their chance. If they had taken this window by the scruff of the neck and really gone out there and made some big moves, then I think everyone would be a lot happier. Even if we ended up finishing 12th, 13th, I think everyone would be really happy. But they haven't done that. They've consolidated what they had. They've only replaced. They've made a profit, which everyone sees very clearly. They've said the wrong things, saying, "Oh, we spent this much of the Payet money." Yeah, you did, but that's stupid to say. All that sort of stuff. They've made a big mistake, and so now they've just the board, especially, really got to hope that Bilic starts really turning the performances and continues that form and gets us moving up the table very slowly and sort of consolidating a top half finish, that sort of stuff. Because if they don't, there is going to be no stands.
Gio, just looking at the transfers, mate. Southampton have got Gabbiadini from Villarreal. He's a forward, isn't he? So I think that could be going that way or going somewhere.
Yeah, and we've got Robbie Brady's joined Burnley from Norwich as well. So they've gone and got him, since they didn't get Snodgrass, they went and got Robbie Brady's there. Have you guys in the live chat, final questions, final comments, put them in, not just questions, your comments as well. Round up your transfer window for us and I'll read some out, etc. So round up your transfer window. Are you disappointed? Are you happy? Can you understand why the board are doing it, etc.? Charlie, do you think Bilic has been made a scapegoat almost for this transfer window a little bit? Bilic didn't want Hogan, so we didn't go get Hogan. Bilic is happy with the team, etc. Do you think maybe that they're passing the buck very quickly? I feel they're almost pointing the finger at Bilic and going, if this goes wrong, it's his fault. He wanted these players, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, they even pointed the finger at him for Payet. They even said, we wanted to keep him here as an example, but he asked us to get going. Obviously, they are, I think, like I said before the Payet thing, I think the board became very, very, very aware of how angry and pissed off literally everyone was at them, how everyone was starting to call for their heads. I think this is them very publicly saying, oh, yeah, well, Bilic decided he didn't want Hogan. Oh, well, Bilic, you know, decided we should get rid of Payet. Like, they're very, very slowly moving the public consciousness towards these are Bilic's decisions. These are Bilic's decisions. And I know, like, you know, Tom spoke about it earlier, like people like Emenike and all that. Like, I'm not entirely sure that he signed them. I think that was a good thing, to be honest with you. But they're very smartly moving the window. If there's one thing they like to do is play PR tactics, and that's definitely what they're doing. Whether it's to bring in the manager, like Tom said, in the summer or anything, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think there is a better manager. We could get them Bilic right now. But yeah, let's be honest, he's going to go before they will. Let's put it that way.
That's an interesting question, actually. Tom, what do you think about that? Charlie just said that Bilic is going to go before the owners do. Do you agree with that?
Mate, as I explained earlier on, reading between the lines, I'm trying to work out why they haven't spent a great deal of money, you know, why they've got a load of money and why they're not spending a great deal of money. And the only thing I can really think about is either they're pocketing it, which, yeah, well, they could do, to be honest with you. But no, I think there's a bigger picture, mate. I don't think, as you mentioned, they've not backed Bilic. I think they're lining it up, mate. I think they're lining it up to get a new manager in the summer. I don't want that, to be honest, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Nibble says he's disappointed that yet again we still haven't got a striker or a right back. Mr. Big Bez, Charlie, Mr. Big Bez says, do you think this squad will finish in the top half of the table?
I think this squad is good enough to finish top half. I think this squad is. I think it should be top 8. To be honest with you, I think the only team out of the top 6 who should be finishing ahead of us are Everton. I think it's between us and Southampton to try and finish 8th. I honestly think that. I think our squad vastly underperforming to just a ridiculous degree. And you saw how like a couple of wins shoots us up the table. Honestly, this is a side that should be finishing 8th and having a cup run at the same time. I think it's big enough. I think it's good enough, but there are vital holes in it. Specifically, we need a second right back. That's the thing we need. But outside that, yeah, I think this is an 8th position squad.
Tom Hayes Liam says, who would you rather sign if you got to pick one? Would you rather have Klein or Sturridge?
Klein, 100%.
Charlie, same for you, sorry?
Yeah, I wanted Klein when he was at Crystal Palace. Klein every day.
What were you going to say, Tom, before I rudely interrupted you?
Look, if we get Sturridge, I'm a West Ham supporter like everyone else. I'll get behind him, you know, support him 1,000,000%. But for me, it's not the player we need. He's a fantastic player. I'm not giving that. But you touched on it on his injury. I think he's the only striker that's got a worse injury record than Andy Carroll. I mean, anybody would actually pass a West Ham medical. Let's be honest here.
Charlie Clayton Baldwin says, "Will we get a replacement for Noble in the summer?" Quick answer.
No. Hopefully, hopefully it's Cullen.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I like this question. That's why I want a quick answer. Tom, Brentwood Hammer asked, does the difficulty of our remaining home games worry you? I mean, he's got a point, actually, because we've got City. I'm going to run through these off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, someone can correct me. I think we've got City, West Brom, Chelsea, Everton, Leicester, Spurs, Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, come on, you've mentioned 4 teams there. They're going to finish probably in the top 6. So, yeah, we should be worried, which is why we need to get to that big. I think someone worked it out the other day. Don't ask me how they worked this out, Gio, but they said 38 points. They've said 37, 38, you know. But, hey, they call it the big 4-0. We need to get to the big 4-0 as quick as possible. We could potentially do it in the next sort of 5 to 6 games. We need to do it, get there, and then, as other people mentioned, start paying the youth.
Charlie, Mr. Big Bez is asking who will win at the bar, Tom or Gaza?
I've seen Tom drink. Now, Tom, I've met when we right. So we always meet up and go to games or whatever. Tom starts drinking incredibly early and does not stop. And what's amazing, change. Tom is this amazing through line, right? It doesn't matter. He could have no points or he could have 20 points, and he's still the exact same human being.
He still does not turn up anywhere with a fishing rod and some chicken claiming to be your mate.
I honestly think Gaza has got nothing on Thomas Down. I'll tell you that much for a fact. I genuinely believe that.
Tom, Luke Allen asks, do you think Creswell will leave for Liverpool in the summer?
If there's going to be one club that Creswell goes to, it'll be Liverpool. He's made no bones about it. He's a Scouse, isn't he? I mean, he supports Liverpool. His family's still in Liverpool. And if they come in with a big, ridiculous offer, it would turn his head and he would go. Yeah, so, yeah, Liverpool would, yeah.
Would you blame him, Tom, if he wanted to go to Liverpool?
Well, it's like you playing up in somewhere in Burnley if you're a professional player and then West Ham come in for you. I'm sorry. I mean, see you later. If I was playing for Burnley, see you later. I'm going to a Boyer club.
How much would you take for him, Tom? What would be your price for Creswell?
He's in the top sort of 3 left backs, I think, to be honest. So, maybe top 5. Well, given today's market and money, you've got to look at least 35 million at least. 35
million, crikey. As much as I like Creswell, I think 25 million would be top dollar for a left back. Which actually, no, Luke Shaw was 30 million. I always say, would he be the most expensive ever left back in the...
Gio, look, Liverpool got the cheek to ask. I know it's because it's like ridiculous money for Benteke and even Sturridge. They're gonna want 25 million. If they want top dollar for their players, I know they're strikers, you know, but if they want top money, they've got to be willing. Liverpool are not skin. You know what I mean? They've got to be willing to pay as well. So Liverpool want Creswell. I'm not having 25. You can go. You know what I mean? 35, 40 million. It's all right. If you don't go, you don't go.
Sounds like a Dimitri Payet negotiation. There's 30 million. I'll take 25. Okay, maybe 25. That's how Dimitri Payet's negotiating worked out. And we will send Tom round with a chicken and a fishing rod as well. Charlie, let's do this together, right? Let's do this together. Fergus says, Gio, do you remember I saw you at Victoria Coach Station? No. Right, let's do this together. Nibble says, what is our winning 11 after this transfer window? Let's call it starting 11. We'll agree, Randolph and goal?
What's best or worst?
Best.
Oh, yeah, Randolph, yeah.
Creswell's left back. Everyone fit. Oh, Reed's obviously one of the centre backs. Who's your partner? Quickly, who's your partner for Winston Reid if Ogbonna and Fonte are fit? Charlie.
Fonte.
Tom.
No, you can't say Fonte because he hasn't played for us yet. So Ogbonna.
I'm Ogbonna as well, but I think Fonte will overtake him by the end of the season. So right back.
Byron.
We only got one.
Yeah, it's got to be Byron.
Default. Or Charlie, would you like Nordveit there? You like Nordveit? I
do, but not there. No, I want right. If Byron's fit, Byron.
Okay, so we're playing with the new formation. We're playing with 2 centre midfielders. Who's your 2 centre midfielders, Charlie?
Personally, I would play with a 4-2-3-1, but if we're playing 4-4-2 like we have been, Obiang and
well, to be fair, I don't think Antonio's an out-and-out striker. He's kind of been playing off Carroll, so he's kind of in between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-4-2. So let's say 4-2-3-1 then.
In a 4-2-3-1, I would still have Obiang and Noble.
Obiang and Noble. Tom?
No, sorry. Everyone's fully fit. It's gonna. Sorry, Nobes. It's got to be Obiang and Cute.
I'm changing it as well. I'm going different. I'm going Obiang and Fernandez. I just think Fernandez has got something. He's a ball. He's an absolute baller in that middle of the park. Right. Let's skip to the easy one. Striker, Charlie.
Carroll. Sorry,
Tom?
he glitched. Carroll.
Yeah, it's got to be Carroll, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be Carroll. A bit boring, isn't it? It's kind of obvious. We've got no choice. You didn't guess one in the January transfer window, did you, West Ham? We should have been debating Hogan or Carroll. Right. I suppose 2 of your 3 agree are Antonio and Lanzini.
Yep.
Oh, Charlie's licking his lips here. Charlie's going to throw a curveball at me. Come on then, Charlie. Who are you not playing?
This is right. I know this isn't going to happen, but if I was the manager, I wouldn't play Antonio. Personally, I would play the 3 behind him would be Faguli on the right, Lanzini down the centre, and Ayew on the left. I wouldn't start Antonio. I was the manager.
Charlie, if my hand had come through the screen right now, I would slap you across the face. You can't play Antonio. You've been smoking something off air, what? Jesus Christ, man. I know I've been drinking, but geez.
It's all right. I'm sure you'll slap me tomorrow at City.
Defend yourself, you Charlie.
He's not very. Look,
No, in your defence, Charlie, I'll stick up for you. No, right. I couldn't drop Antonio because of his goals, right? But his crossing and his finishing by his feet is absolutely, to be honest with you, it's pony.
literally anything.
But it gives you effort.
Literally anything that isn't making forward runs and being in the right position going forward, he can't do. He doesn't track back. He does what often he did last season, but he stopped very quickly. He doesn't track back anymore. He can't pass. He can't cross. He can't shoot. He gets in fantastic positions though. And when we were playing the system we are at the moment, when Carroll drops deep and he moves in behind, it's a thing of beauty. He drags centre back the shot. He gets in fantastic positions. But we need technique going forward. It's a huge problem we have actually creating chances. Payet was doing it for fun, but outside of that, we struggle. And I really believe that we're going to have to look forward. Now, Antonio, I believe, could be unbelievable coming off the bench. If we have him coming on, Payet, he is going to run the defenders ragged. He is going to drag them left, right, and centre. And for me, that is an unbelievable trait to have. But technically, he's just bad. He's just straight up bad, as technique wise.
Nah, man. I mean, I get it. He can't cross or whatever. I get what you're saying. But the thing is, at the end of the day, he got 3 assists against Crystal Palace. He got 1 against Middlesbrough. For a geezer who can't pass across, somehow he got 4 assists in his last 2 games. You know, he said he can't shoot, but yeah, it was his shot that Valdez parried for Carroll to get the goal against Middlesbrough as well. And
yeah, I did.
The thing is, though,
and did I not say that I didn't know he could pull off a shot like that in the box?
But the thing is, though, I think Tom might disagree. For me, when we're going 4-2-3-1, Antonio has to be the one in the centre from now on. He used to be right wing, but for me now, he's got to be in the centre. Get him off the wing so he doesn't have to cross the ball. And actually, you get someone that can cross the ball. You've got Antonio who can head it, and that's not something anyone can doubt. Who can head it in the box with Andy Carroll. It's got to be a dream for a winger. It's got to be a dream when you've got those two. And it must be a nightmare from a centre back when you've got Carroll, but then you've got Antonio bombing into the box as well. You must be thinking, what the hell? How do I defend this?
Yeah, the best formation for us is 4-4-1-1, and Antonio's actually behind Carroll. You know, it gets into positions. He gets into fantastic positions, but I'm sorry, his finishing with his feet is pretty pony. I'm not afraid to admit it, but what he gives you unbelievable work rate. He gives you unbelievable running. You know, he doesn't give up. You know what I mean? He's brilliant. You know, I mean, that's what you want. You want someone to fight on the pitch. You know, and the fact that he does that, it makes up for the things that you sort of miss. Do you know what I mean? Which is the really poor finishing and the lane crossing.
I would agree. If we're playing counter-attacking football, then Antonio does definitely have a place in the centre behind Carroll. Because like you say, I think that he can press very high, and then his late runs moving in can be a real, especially if we're breaking quickly on the counter-attack. Let's be honest, it's going to be a long ball out to Carroll, who's going to be near the halfway line. Will be the one overlapping him, and that's really good. But if we're playing someone like that, no offense to Burnley, but if we're playing against a team like that, where we're going to be the ones who have to control the play and move the ball quickly and well, I just would not put him in that team because I don't think he's technically good enough. I would prefer Lanzini to be in the centre, where he can be the link and the guy who links up everything, whether it be from the DMs, whether it be from the wings, whether it be from fullbacks, it doesn't matter. I trust him to be the guy to link that play up more than I trust Antonio. But if we're playing counter-attacking, then Antonio definitely has that position.
If Antonio could pass and cross, right, he wouldn't be at West Ham. He's almost like Alexis Sanchez if he could pass and cross. He had that to his game. He's too good for us. But it's just, I'm just checking Twitter because someone said that Jack Sullivan is tweeting the letter B, but I don't think he is. I've just checked his Twitter. I don't think he is. But for me, it would be Antonio with Lanzini to his left. Not ideal, but he's showing that he can actually do something like that. And today, right now, if Figuli's on the right, but that's where Snodgrass has got to sort of try and claim. So that would be my 3. Same 3 for you, Tom?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I actually do want Lanzini to get more, play more of like a David Silva sort of role, really. You know what I mean? I think that's what he needs to be, Lanzini. Hopefully that's what they're gearing him up for.
I think he's done that the last 2 games. I thought he's sort of like, I don't know. People keep saying he's got to step up and stuff, and I don't think he has to. I think he just does what he's been doing all this time. I think he's been doing it well enough. I mean, Charlie will back me up on this. I said literally a year ago, I said on one of the shows, I prefer Lanzini to Payet. I'd have Lanzini in my team ahead of Payet.
I remember you saying it, Gio, and you know what? Watching him, he just glides with the ball. You know, when you get them players, they just glide with the ball, don't they? I don't know. It is really, really fantastic to watch. The way he just glides with it and just sort of, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. He is brilliant.
I think
I will say this as well. If we're playing Antonio in the centre and Lanzini has to be on that left side, because the best times when we were attacking down the left last season, when Payet would have the ball and then all of a sudden just stop, and then Cresswell would be bombing forward and Payet would find him with the pass, and we would cause absolute havoc down that left side. And Lanzini has the ability to do that. He has the ability and the smartness to cut, smooth, move inwards, allow Cresswell the space to overlap, and that is a partnership that massively watching football.
What's the next question, Gio?
Well, before we move on, just to finish on Lanzini, what we'll say is, I don't think it's about him stepping up. I think now he doesn't have to pass to Payet. That's why we're seeing a different Lanzini. I think before everyone got told to pass to Payet, and it was so obvious at times that Martin Noble was almost getting the ball on one side of the pitch and trying to run across to the other side just to pass to Payet. And you're like, what are you passing to him for? Give it out to the Goulet. Sometimes our players were going unmarked and just getting ignored so we could try and get the ball to Payet. Now it's almost like we've got no rules. You give it to the next man in the claret in blue, whoever that is, doesn't matter. You trust him. You give it to him. You create together. You work as a team. And I think that's why we're seeing a little bit better from Manuel Lanzini. We've only got about 5-10 minutes left. Charlie, do you want to give us some final words before you ditch us and let young Tom back on? Say, tell our viewers what to do, Charlie, while you're there.
Leave your hate comments about me dropping Antonio below, obviously. You can leave them in the like chat or comments. I will be accepting all of them as per usual. Make them creative though. Shit, then that's boring. I don't enjoy that. But if you come out and say, look, he looks like a wolf man.
Hashtag
all about it. Go on, Tom.
Love child.
Right, hang on. If you want to retweet on Twitter, Charlie Smile. If you want to retweet on Twitter, take a screenshot of him now, Charlie Smile.
Yes.
Tweet at @hammers_chat with the hashtag Wolfman. Okay, tweet us at @hammers_chat. Charlie Smile.
Yeah, I want
this.
I want hashtag Wolfman trending before the night is over.
Right, okay, Smile. Give them a smile. Screenshot that, tweet Hammers Chat, and we'll retweet it. Every single one we get, we'll retweet it, okay? Even if we get 100, we won't. But even if we did, I'm going to retweet all 100, all right? So there you go. Charlie, now that you just called out half the viewers, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I'm relatively happy, but we still have massive holes in the squad, and I'm not. If anything, the whole Scott Hogan thing and all this has proved a point to me that I don't believe the board will ever got the ambition to move forward. They say the right things, but well, I have a lot of time. But they talk a big talk, but they're just never going to back it up. Which, you know, is fine when we're trying to consolidate against debt, I guess. But some see the club move forward. It's not the right thing. Also, Kiate is not technically good. We're just going to dig out players. I don't think he's good enough either, but we'll move on. Yeah.
Gio, just to add on to that Liverpool point with Cresswell, right? They've loaned Sacco, their defender, that big unit, one got down for drugs, wherever it was. Or, right?
Right, yeah.
Right? They just loaned him to Crystal Palace, and they've put a buying clause of 20 million quid. That's what I'm talking about, mate. 20 million quid for him. I'm done, Jesus. And you're talking about 25 million. Oh my God, what are you on about? Oh. I'll tell you, it's just kind of, if he's going Liverpool, like, 50 million. I tell you, Jesus.
I've sat here for 3 hours, right? I've sat here for 3 hours. Apart from going for a piss and another beer, that's just made my night. Sacco going to Crystal Palace. Thank you very much, because you've just caused a reaction, which has made my night. Charlie, get off and let young Tom on. Say goodbye. Go check Twitter, see if there's any screenshots of you.
After's 32 to Slacker. See you later.
There we go. There we go. That's him off. But Tom.
20 million quid. Oh my God. What are they doing? But Liverpool, mate, I'll tell you, they must. Oh, Jesus Christ. What money they get from their players?
Some people are liking you. Young Tom says, ha ha ha. Mr. Big Bez says, lol, Tom. Hayes Liam says, Jesus, you can tell he's on the piss. Ola says to tell you that's 5 million less than Dimitri Payet.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying to you. How can they get that for him? Oh, my. He's gone on loan. Stem Allardyce. Jesus. He's like Fran Maniac, like it's sweets, isn't he? If that's the thing. That's
the thing, though. Crystal Palace have done that. Nibbles, by the way, is asking for a hashtag. Just do hashtag Wolfman, hashtag Hammers Chat Wolfman or something. We'll retweet it.
I've already started retweeting.
As long as it's got a picture of Charlie, we're fine. We'll retweet it. We'll like it. But Crystal Palace, though, Tom, are they almost buying too much players, or is it good to see someone buying players, or what?
The thing is, Crystal Palace, mate, right? They realise they're in trouble, right? And the only way you can really get out of trouble is spending money. You know, it's a big gamble for them. I mean, this a massive gamble for them. But I mean, I think they've spent over 100 million quid since the start of the season with Benteke and other players. It's well over 100 million quid. It's ridiculous. There's no way we've got that.
They have taken in like 30 million for Blassie, 10 million for Gale. They did take in a little bit of cash as well, but I know their net's a lot worse than ours off. Tom, do you want to Arthurs? Do you want to round up the transfer window? We need to start wrapping this up. It's 11 o'clock. You're only going to get on for 5 minutes, Arthurs.
That's all right. I don't mind. Tom Down has just made it for me. Just the that laugh. Oh God, honestly, absolutely brilliant. The one thing I will say is I do agree kind of with what Charlie's saying about Antonio, but even if that's the case, I still can't make a case to drop him from the team. I'm sorry, but I do understand he's not the most technically gifted, but I can't make a point for him.
We all do. None of us are sitting here claiming he's fantastic or that, but we're just saying that we can't drop him. Man City tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we're playing Man City. We'll be back live with our review straight after the game. Arthurs, what's your score prediction? You feeling confident? What are you thinking?
Do you know what I said the other day that I felt slightly confident. I know City have had the FA Cup at the weekend. They've played a full strength squad, but that probably means nothing for us tomorrow night. Look, there was a better atmosphere when we played Palace the other week. A really good atmosphere, the best I've seen for a while. And you know, hopefully with the new signings and Payet not there, that it will be a nice positive reaction from the players and from the squad. So I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham.
That's what I said, Tom.
You know what? I've been on the beer. I'm going to be on the beer tomorrow night as well. It's going to be a high-scoring game, right? It's going to be a high-scoring game. Aguero's going to score because he always scores against us, doesn't he, Aguero? You know what? I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 3-2.
I was expecting like 5-4 or something there.
Get your money on 3-2. But speaking of beer, you can join us for beers on the 11th of February. We're meeting up in Stratford first thing in the morning, as we do, and I think we're going to be there for a while. So if you fancy joining us, just get in touch with us. All our social media links are below. Whatever, you can come join us for a breakfast if you want. If you want to see Tom Down on it from 8 in the morning, you know where to come. But young Tom, let's just say goodbye, young Tom.
Yeah, see you later. Thanks for all your engagement in the chat. No.
Tom.
What was that?
You say goodbye. What have you got to say?
Nice having that.
Yeah, thanks for all the engagement, because I know obviously between myself and Charlie, we've been back and forth all night. Thank you for all the engagement from the guys. I know we don't read everything, but it was nice to see a lot of people engaging, so it was good. Cheers for that.
Well, thank you very much to everybody that's watched this. Whether you watched it live, you watched it. If you've watched it back and you're still watching it, then fair play to you, because you've been watching for 3 hours, or you skipped to the end just because you've heard about Tom Down's crackle. But anyway, we'll be back Wednesday night live after the game. We're live on Friday night. We're live on Saturday. We've got loads of videos coming up, so make sure you subscribe. Come on to our forum at hammerchat.com. And it's been a crap window, but hopefully it's been a good show for you. Thank you for watching.